Okay, everyone. At 10 a.m., please start admitting everyone from the waiting room. And once we have a good number in, I'll do the intro and hand it off to Mario. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We will be starting shortly. We're just letting everyone in from the waiting room. Please have patience while we get it set up. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever Student Maker Day from the Long Island Explorium and Maker Faire Long Island. Thank you for joining us, and thank you all for our wonderful makers that will be donating their time and energy to this incredible day. Hope you enjoy, and if you have any questions, please let us know. We're going to send this off right now to Mario the Maker.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. If you don't know who I am, my name is Mario the Maker Magician. I absolutely love making things. So if you see around me here, there are all kinds of things that I make. My heart and joy is robotics and magic together. So I need your help right now. If you can see me, please shake your hands like this so I know that you are with me. Let me see who's with me. I see some people. Oh, look at this. Yes, there are people with me today. Fantastic. If you're excited about Student Maker Day, then give a round of applause, because I want to see who the most excited is, because I'll be picking someone in a moment. All right, there's some people excited. Fantastic. So I'm going to say a big thank you to Maker Faire Long Island and Long Island Explorium. Big thank you. So grab some magic right now with your left hand like this and squeeze it tight. Grab some magic with your right hand like this and squeeze it tight. And do me a favor, put the magic together, okay? And we're gonna shove it into the camera on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. Hello, friends. Well, guess what? Before we get into any crazy magic, before we get into any crazy robots that do magic, I cannot perform anything. No. I am here to wake you up. I want to see who the most excited is. So do me a favor, please. You could smile with your eyes. That's right. I want to see who can smile the biggest with their eyes. Right now, we'll spotlight you. Let me see. Up close on the camera with their eyes. The biggest smile with their eyes. Let me see here. I see Noah smiling. Look at these smiles with their eyes, and they disappear. Fantastic. Look at these smiles with their eyes. I see them. I see those eyes. Oh my goodness. Up close on the camera. Okay, back it up. I can't believe it. Well, you know what? This is gonna be fun. That's right. It's gonna be fun. And I wanna see who can give me the most epic, craziest, funny face that you can right now. I know you're wearing masks, some of you. That's okay. You can still make a funny face. I'm gonna show you the most disgusting funny face in a minute. If you got a crazy funny face, put it on the screen. Let me see your funny face. Where is it? That's great. Let me see your funny face. Any good funny face there? Oh, too cool for school. Look at that. There's a great funny face. That was awesome. All right, I'll show you my funny face. Absolutely disgusting. Everyone, up close on the camera right now. Take a look. I'm taking my glasses off. Everybody, close your eyes right now. Okay. Open your eyes. Hello. How are you? I told you I had the most craziest funny face. You didn't believe me. We got a show to do, people. I'm excited. Let me get my glasses on. I'm going to be picking a few people to help me out. People that are excited. People. What's that, Xavier? Xavier's pointing at the camera. What is it? Did you see? What's so funny? He's laughing at me. What is it? What? What is he saying? Isaiah, what is the problem here? Easy what? He's grabbing his chin. Is it my glasses? Are you saying my... They were upside down. I'm sorry. I'm totally sorry. Listen, we got magic and making together. I can't. Are you serious? Are they upside down again? This is not even funny. All right, I apologize. I will fix this. Oh, ow. My eyeball. I gotta be careful. Yeah, that's right. Don't worry. It's just a fake eyeball here. We're showing you how magic can be done with anything, even your glasses. I'm a magician, but I am also a maker. And that's what makes it fun, when we can take two worlds and smash them together. But before I bring those things together, I need your eyes up here. I need your hands on your laps. I need your listening ears on, because I want to show you something that I'm excited about. My magic wand. Yes, I built a robot that will deliver my magic wand. All you have to do is clap 2 times on the camera, and that robot will deliver the wand. See if you see it. See if you see it anywhere. Take a look. Clap 2 times. Let me see. Easy's clapping. Fantastic. Xavier's clapping. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't think they're clapping enough. If they're not clapping, well, guess what? There's no robot. And if there's no robot, there's no magic. And if there's no magic, there's no show. Do you understand? There's no show. And if there's no show, this would be... What? There it is! My magic robot delivery system. There's the wand right here. It goes right into my hand. Da, 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 da. Uh-oh. Oh, man. Wait a second. Don't worry. Everything's fine. So this is what magicians use. They use a magic... Wait a second. That's not good. 1 second here. They use a... Oh, goodness. They use a magic wand. And magic wand... Okay. Can you do me a favor? Isaiah, can you blow into the camera, please? Blow into the camera, Isaiah. He did it! It's back! Yes! Fantastic, fantastic! Yes! This is called a crawl bot. This is all 3D printed with just 1 DC motor and 1 9-volt battery. A string across, and that's it. It actually can crawl right across my camera screen. If you want, you can research a crawl bot right on your computer. With some help of a teacher, you could probably build one of these too. 3D printed elements, DC motor, 1 9-volt battery. Now, I'll tell you what's so cool is magic. Here's my magic hat. Nothing here, nothing here. I grab a little bit of magic from the air. Help me out. Xavier, grab some magic, please. Throw it in my hat, would you please? Thanks, Xavier. Fantastic. Take a breath like this. Everyone say poof. Poop. No, don't say poop. Mikey, did you say poop? That's disgusting. Don't say poop. I heard you. Yeah, you did. Let me. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Oh, just out of a piece of paper. Look at this. Every single scarf that comes out of here. This is what magic is about. It's this, the impossible happening right before your eyes. Well, speaking of eyes, bring your eyes up close. Bring your eyes up close right now. Here's my magic suitcase. Take a look. See if you see anything in there. Take a look. Here it is. See if you see anything. Did you see anything in there? Did you see anything? Huh? I bet you didn't see anything. Did you see anything in there? Did you see anything? No, I don't think they saw. You saw something? My eyeballs. Don't worry. They're just sponge eyeballs. Make sure there's nothing else in there. We got a show to do. Oh, make sure there's nothing else in there. We got a show to do. What is easy? Don't pick your. Are you picking your nose? Oh my goodness. I don't know what's happening here. It's embarrassing. Grab some magic with your hands like this. Do it. Be quick. Grab some magic. Throw it inside the suitcase. Throw it in there. Take a look. I snap my fingers. Look. And look at that. There's a coin. And this is a special coin. Look at this. This is a 3D printed coin that I made on Tinkercad.com. Who's heard of Tinkercad? Raise your hand. Who's heard of Tinkercad? Fantastic. Who has a 3D printer in their room right now? Fantastic. Between those 2 elements, you could make your own coin. Use some acrylic paint, and guess what? Now you have this awesome, epic, homemade coin. You can put your name instead of mine. This is what's cool about this coin. I can actually do magic with it. Wah! You see that? Right on my finger. Look at that. Smashed right through my finger. Yeah, and you know what's crazy? I can actually take the hole right off the coin, and if I'm lucky, and if you blink, you might miss it, I put it inside my hand just like this and snap, and you won't believe it. It's completely gone. Thank you, Mikey. Mikey's clapping his hands. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Isaiah. I don't know how it fit in my nose. Absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. Yes, everything you're seeing here is not just magic. This is all stuff that is made in a makerspace, just like you have there. You see here my 3D printed Jumbo Mario the Maker Magician coin, and I have my wonderful crawl bot here. And guess what? Guess what? Who's heard of this puzzle before? Raise your hand, because this is a great puzzle. Who's heard of this? Do you know what this is? Who knows what that is? Anyone out there know what this is? I don't think they know what this is. This is probably not. You guys are too young. You don't know what this is. Who knows that this is a Rubik's Cube? Okay, who's solved a Rubik's Cube before? Raise your hand. No, it's a tough puzzle. It's a tough puzzle. I actually built a robot that can actually solve the cube. This is my little frog robot. Everyone come up close, check this out. With just an Arduino and a couple servo motors, I don't have to do the work. The little frog robot does. Check it out. Here, I want to show you all sides of the cube. You can see it, all sides of the cube here. I'm gonna put it right inside here. right inside the frog. See if you can see it in there. Do you see it? Look, keep your eye on it. Watch. Watch this. Keep your eyes right on the little frog robot. Look at this. Watch. Look at that. What? Yes! Thank you, Xavier! Thank you! You see that? There it is, completely solved. This is done with just a robot made of cardboard and Arduino and a little servo motor. We can have some magic. That's what makes it exciting. Well, don't ever forget, you don't need fancy robotics to do magic. You could use a balloon. Even a balloon has the capabilities of magic. Look at this little tiny balloon animal. Look, you don't see it yet. I just gotta twist it up. It's my Zoom animal. Da 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 da. Whoa! Oh my goodness! It's the cutest little doggy! Thank you, Xavier's clapping his hands. That makes me happy. Well, guess what? We just did some magic with a robot that's made of cardboard and an Arduino. We have a wonderful little crawl bot that's doing some awesome stuff. And you know what I need? I think it's time for a helper. I need a helper to help me out. Raise your hand if you want to help me out. Someone who's excited, someone who can help me out. Who would like to help me out? Raise your hand, quick, 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 quick. Hello, friend. Hi, Audrey. How are you doing today? You might have to unmute. Let's see if we can get you to unmute so we can hear you. Audrey, can I hear you? Let me see. We'll do a test. See if you can hear me. Audrey, I don't know if I can hear you. Well, we might have to pick. Should we do it? Okay, good. Fantastic. Audrey, I have a pack of cards. They're all different. I want you to take a card to do magic. I'm going to go like this, and you just shout stop whenever you want. Shout stop. All right, right there. Is that okay? Or do you want me to go in? Thumbs up? That good? All right, take a look. Make sure you can see the card. You got it? You got it in your mind? Give me a thumbs up if you can remember it. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to put it inside the pack, just like this. Okay, there it is. What is it? It's a 5 of diamonds. Watch this. I'm going to put it inside. And Audrey, I'm not going to find the card. I built another robot with an Arduino, with some batteries and some motors to find your card, the 5 of diamonds. So Audrey, we're waiting for you. Wiggle your fingers like this and say, get the robot. We'll say it together. Get the robot! Here it is, my little cardboard robot. Another homemade robot that you could build in a makerspace? Yes! This is what Maker Faire is about. This is what Maker Day is about. It's about learning how to make things. Here it is. We must find the 5 of diamonds. I'm going to turn the robot on. You guys wiggle your fingers on the screen. Whoever wiggles the loudest maybe will be my helper. If you see eyes pop up, shout abracadabra when you see eyes pop up, okay? Did you see any eyes yet? No. Okay, when you see eyes, shout abracadabra really loud. Okay, no! Isaiah, when you see eyes pop up, that's when you shout, okay? When you see the eyes. All right, you guys, if you're shouting randomly, you're gonna break, ow! You're gonna break my, ow! You're gonna break my robot. So that, oh my goodness. Okay, this is not funny. I built this a couple weeks ago. Ow! Okay, we need to follow directions. Guys, help me out. Let me see if I can fix, oh, his mouth just opened. This is not good. This is not good. Okay, guys, let me see. Let me see if I can fix this. Wait a second. Wait a second. Oh, man. I just dropped all the cards. Okay. Wait, what was the card? Was it a 5 of diamonds? Is this the 5? I know, this is terrible, Xavier. I don't know. Does anyone know where the 5 is? Does anyone know? I have no idea. What? What are you saying? In my mouth? There's nothing in my mouth. Nothing in there. What? In the robot's mouth? Oh my goodness. You're saying the one card that is stuck in his mouth out of all the cards flew in the air is the 5 of... No, that would be actually an insane miracle! There you have it. Look at all these robots. All made with a microcontroller, 3D printed parts. Look at the back of this robot. Take a look. This is all accessible technology that are at our fingertips from local libraries and schools that we could build. Robotics is not just about programming on a screen. We could take that screen and build actual robots. That's what makes it so exciting. Well, guess what? I'm gonna show you one more magic trick, and this is how it's gonna work. Show me with your fingers how many holes did I hole punch through this card? How many holes? Show me with your fingers. How many? Good job, fantastic. Thank you, Mikey. Mikey is listening. 4 holes. Bring your eyes up close. I'm only doing this one time. This is it. This is where I love how science and magic can mix together. Here are the holes. I'm demonstrating that the holes are real by putting a straw through it so you can see right over here. This is where things get a little strange. Keep your eye on the bottom right hole. You can see my finger right behind it going right through. This is where science and magic actually slide and mix together. There it is. Look at Xavier's face. He's like this. That's what I'm talking about. This is why I'm here. Look at this. Here's the next one. There's a hole right there. I'm only doing it one time. Science and magic mixing together. There it is right there. You can see it. Yeah, I told you. Yeah, he's getting his teacher. Thank you, Joshua. Joshua's here with me. Fantastic. Here's the last one. This is where it gets really weird. There's the last one. You can see it right over here. There it is. I can actually take it and eat it and put it right over there. There it is. You can see it. Wow. Thank you. There's people paying attention out in Zoom world. There it is. And here's my favorite part. Keep your eyes on the holes. Your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. That's the truth. It doesn't matter. So if you keep your eyes on the holes the whole time, you're going to miss it. If you keep your eyes on me, you're going to miss it. But watch as I pass the card from this hand to this hand, they all of a sudden jump back to where we started. Ho-ho! Who's having a good time? Show me with love right over here. Fantastic. Why am I here? I'm here to show you, listen, when you build your robotics, when you make things, don't think it's just a two-dimensional thing. We can build robots that actually entertain and make people laugh. We can build robots that do magic tricks and bring laughter and joy. This is what making is about to me. So don't ever forget, all it takes is 3 things for me. 3D designing, 3D printing what you design, and animating what you make. Do me a favor, weave your fingers like this for me right now and tap your chest like that. Everyone say, do what you love. As cheesy as it sounds, as you get older, it's the most important thing. Do what you love. Use what you have. Show me your muscles. Use what you have. And don't ever forget. That's right. Look at that. Use what you have. And don't ever forget. Have fun. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. Do what you love. Use what you have. I'm Mario the Maker Magician. I hope to see you in a theater in person. All the love in the world from my family to yours. Enjoy your Maker Day. Big shout out to Maker Faire Long Island and Long Island Explorium for bringing me here. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mario the Maker. That was a wonderful, wonderful session. We're going to be starting shortly in our next session. If anyone has any technical difficulties, feel free to message me, Lisa, from the Long Island Explorium in the chat.
Dave Maniolo here, and welcome to our virtual edition of That Physics Show. We're so glad you're able to join us wherever you are, all right? Hey, before I get started, with all this great equipment behind me to show you the world of physics, show you all the physics that you probably already knew already, show you those laws and rules that we have in physics. Before we get to all of that, let's just talk about physics for just a couple seconds, right? Just a couple seconds. You know, physics has a lot of laws, has a lot of rules, as we just said. Those laws and rules we have in physics, kind of like the Supreme Court of all the other sciences. Really, the laws and rules in physics make up chemistry, biology, engineering, medicine. They have to follow the laws and rules we're going to see right here on our stage today. And, you know, this is a bit of an off-Broadway show, right? So we really do have a bit of a theme all through our show. And the theme to our show is really energy. Energy, that's the word. And it means this. I'm never really going to get rid of that energy. I'm just going to move that energy around. And in moving it around, we can do things. In fact, I can make sound with energy, or we can make light with energy. Because the very first thing we're going to do here on our stage today is talk about Isaac Newton's 3 laws of motion. There are 3 of them, and they really concern, more than anything else, how mass and force interact. And we're going to see all 3. And that first law of motion is known as the law of inertia. That's the word, and that's what you want to remember. And actually, here's what it means. It means that this mass, this plate, won't do anything at all, will not move at all. No motion unless a force acts on it. But once the plate goes into motion, it keeps moving till another force acts on it. Hey, that's the word, and that's exactly what you saw right there. Now, you see we have a tablecloth here, and we got some flowers, and there's even a candle here, and I bet you didn't know this. There's actually romance in physics, too, so I'm going to light that candle up. Now, you see all those objects on our tablecloth? Remember, inertia means objects don't move unless a force acts on them. So I'm going to take the tablecloth, and I'm going to move it very slowly. And you're going to note that all those objects move directly towards me. You saw that. What was the force on all those objects? It was friction, right? There's a rubbing between the tablecloth and the object, so they move, right? Hey, friction's an important force. There's no walking, there's no driving unless we have friction, right? We know that on an icy day. But hey, here's what I can do. If I take this tablecloth and I move it very, very, very quickly, that actually overcomes the static force of friction on all those objects. That means they really shouldn't move at all by pulling the tablecloth out from underneath. You think it's going to work? I say we try, because how do you really learn in life? You do the experiment. So let's do the experiment. 3, 2, 1, and they stay right there just like that. So that's what we have with that law of inertia, the first law of motion, but there are 3 of them. And the second one may actually be my favorite. The second law of motion tells me this, that every force, what's that? That's a hammer. Every force is equal to mass times acceleration. Wow, you heard me hit that piece of wood. You know a hammer provides a force. That's exactly what these do, right? You ever hit yourself in the thumb? You know what hammers do. So force is equal to mass times acceleration. Oh my goodness, a physics equation. That makes it really scary? No. It really just models exactly what we see in life. Let's break it down. What do I have right here? That's a sponge. That's our light mass. Piece of wood, that's our medium mass. And right here is a heavy, massive lead brick. So if I have 3 different masses and I take this force, this hammer, and apply it equally to each one of these masses, what does that equation say we're going to see? Different accelerations. But again, how do you learn in life? You do the experiment. So let's do the experiment right here in front of you, all right? So force, mass, and acceleration. Force, mass, and acceleration. Force, mass, and... That one's not moving far, is it? You saw how the sponge, the light mass, flew out and accelerated very fast. How the piece of wood just kind of flopped off the table. Less mass on the sponge, even less, a little more mass on that piece of wood, so it didn't accelerate as much. But this big lead brick is hardly accelerated at all. In fact, if I was to take this force, this hammer, and bring it down in my hand like this, it's the shortest show you've probably ever seen, because I'd have to go off to the hospital, right? Instead, I take that big lead brick, I put it right here on my hand like this. It really doesn't matter how much force I now apply to that lead brick with this hammer. It really will not accelerate into my hand at all. So I can take this hammer, this force, hit the lead brick really hard on my hand, and I feel none of the force of the hammer blow. Doesn't affect me at all. But there is a third law of motion. And the third law of motion is what? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. I can take my 2 hands. I can press them together really hard with lots of force. But there's no motion there, right? Nothing's actually moving, just a lot of force both ways. And here, Ryan has brought out this really, really pretty red card. You know what I can do to that pretty red card? I can push on the surface really hard. But the card just pushes equally back on me, holding me up. Force down, force up. That's what we have. But this law, every action gives us an equal and opposite reaction, does give us motion. And when does that happen? Well, what's in my hand right here? That's a balloon. What is it now? It's a balloon filled with air. And have you ever done this experiment? Probably, right? I'm going to take the balloon and I'm going to let it go. The balloon's going to go in one direction, but what's the air going to do? It's going to go the other way, which is why you get motion with this law. Every action in equal and opposite reaction. 3, 2, 1, and off it goes. But that's not so exciting. Let's try the exact same experiment with this. What's this? This is a fire extinguisher, right? Filled with lots and lots of CO2 under very, very high pressure. Lots and lots of force. I'm going to take all the force in this fire extinguisher, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit that sail right there with all that force. Now, as you're watching, I want you to tell me, what direction does my cart then go in when I do this experiment? Hey, you don't have to, I won't know what you're thinking, but think to yourself. But let's do a physics survey. Who thinks I'm headed that way? Who thinks I'm headed that way? Who thinks I'm headed this way? Who thinks I'm going, well, sooner or later. Not today, I hope. By the way, this is going to be an extremely loud noise. So let's see what we get here. And it's just like a grenade. You actually pull the pin. There's that much force in here. So let's do our experiment, all right? 3, 2, 1. Which way did I go? Nowhere. The only thing that happens is your butt gets really cold because it goes right down your shorts. Now, why? You saw and heard how much force I put on that sail, but there's no actual motion. But of course not. You don't push on yourself and go into motion. That's not how this law and rule works, right? In fact, what do we have to do? Well, this is why we have Ryan. Because Ryan is now going to stand directly behind me, sound headphones on, with that sail. And all the force of this fire extinguisher is going to come out and hit that sail now, but it's not attached to that cart anymore. What direction is this cart now going to go in? That way. That's obvious. But let me ask you this. Does Ryan have to be behind me here with that sail for me to go forward? And the answer is no. Right? There's nobody in outer space standing behind rockets. That's a lousy job to have. But we gave this job to Ryan because we want you to see how much force is on me and him as we do our experiment, okay? So you can see us both for a second, but let's see some rocket motion in action. 3, 2, 1. Right here in this container is water. Does anybody know what that is? Well, that's just regular soda, right? Regular Pepsi. Does anybody know what that is? Well, that's Diet Pepsi. And I bet most of you have picked up one of these or maybe even picked up one of these. But here's my question to you. You know what water is. You know what soda is. Does this can of regular soda sink or float in the water bath? Well, what do we do to find out? Let's do the experiment. So I'm going to put it right here in that water bath. Let it go. You'll note it goes right to the bottom, right? I don't know how many predicted that, but that's exactly what happened. Right here, we have a can of diet soda. Does this sink or float in the water? What do you think? Well, I say you try it at home. No, 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 I'm going to do it right here. Let's do that experiment right here. I'm going to go ahead and put it in a water bath. And actually, it floats. Now, why would that be? Seems kind of surprising, right? Because they give you the same amount of soda. They give you the same amount of bubbles. So why do they have a different density? Because that's why things sink or float. It's the density relationship. Well, this soda down here is sweetened with sugar. And that sugar soda, if you take that sugar out, there's a good almost an inch or inch and a half of sugar inside that can of soda. That's what you're drinking. Yum, yum, yum. It really has a high density in comparison to this soda, which is sweetened with something we call NutraSweet. You just need a little bit of that really powerful chemical to make it as sweet as all that sugar. So this is more dense. This is less dense, as you can see. But has anybody here ever been in a swimming pool? And I bet the answer is yes. Anybody watching, have you actually been in our ocean? And I bet the answer is yes. And where do you feel more of a buoyant force lifting you up? Well, in the ocean. Why? What's in the ocean? Salt, sharks, toilet paper, lots of stuff. So if I take some salt and I pour it in a water bath, we see that that brings that soda right to the surface, just like so, just like that. Because now it changed the density of the water bath, and in sinking and floating, it's all about the relationship of density. That's exactly what we've done. Make the water bath more dense, it comes to the surface. But what floats in our air? Balloons, right? You ever have a birthday? What do they give you? They give you a helium balloon, right? And what I have right here is a helium balloon. Due to that helium balloon, I'm going to pop it. I am. But I'll explain to you a little of the fun facts about helium, because when I pop that helium balloon, here's what's going to happen to the helium. The helium is going to leave this area right here. It's going to leave this building. It's going to go all the way up to the top of our atmosphere and then leave the Earth. It turns out that helium isn't held to the Earth by Earth's gravity. Earth's gravity is not strong enough. So any helium in our air winds up in outer space. And if that's all true, and it is, where did human beings actually first see helium? Well, it turns out it was also outer space. It was actually on the sun. In fact, helium is named after the sun. Helium, Helios, that's why it's called that. It's named after the sun. We saw these burning yellow lines, these yellow colored lines, and that told us there was a gas on the sun that we didn't know about. And then we looked here on Earth for that same gas. Where do we get our helium from now? And don't say the party store. It turns out that it comes from underground. When they pull gas from underground, a whole lot of helium comes with it. But we waste most of it. In fact, most helium winds up in outer space that we pull out of ground. In fact, we actually have a shortage of helium right now. Pretty dangerous shortage, because we use helium in quite a few things. But let's send more out to outer space and say goodbye to a little bit of helium, right? Let's see what happens when we light this balloon. 3, 2, 1, pops it. But we have a whole nother gas right here that floats a whole lot better than helium. And we're never, ever, 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 ever going to run out of this gas. So with helium being in a shortage, why don't they give you hydrogen balloons? I'll show you. Because I'm now going to light this balloon, and you're going to see the difference between helium and hydrogen. For this, we'll turn the lights out. Let's see if you can keep your eyes on this hydrogen balloon. 3, 2, 1. An amazing sight, isn't it? Now, oh, thank you, Michelle. Here's what I got. What's this right here? This is a garbage can, right? It's a garbage can. What's it have on one side? It's got a hole. What do I have on the other side? I got some rubber right here. So more than anything else, this is like a big drum, right? And I can take this, I'm going to hit the bottom, but you don't actually see anything happen there. So you don't really know that anything's happening when I do that. You know, in physics, and I actually think in science and life, you want proof of things, right? You want to see what something's doing before you believe what someone tells you, right? Don't just believe what people say. Look for some proof. So Michelle, she's got a candle, right? And a lot of times in science, we see action at a distance. We don't really see what's going on, but we see what the thing does, right? So let's see what we can do with this, because with my garbage can, I can, let's see, blow the candle out. So you can see that this is actually doing something. But you still don't see exactly what's happening with our garbage can. And in physics and in science, what we like to do more than anything else is see exactly what's going on. So let's see that, because what I have right here is some theatrical fog. Now, theatrical fog is just glycerin that we heat up. It becomes a fog. They put glycerin in all your food. They just don't tell you. So no, we're not worried about this stuff. But it will show us exactly what's happening every time I hit the bottom of this garbage can. And this, to me, is one of the reasons why science is so much fun. Because what do we got? We got that smoke ring coming right out at you, right? And look how simple this is to make. And I dare you to go home and build one of those. That's what we have coming out of here all the time. But you didn't know it till we put the fog inside. And that's the fun part of science, seeing exactly what happens. Now, Ryan's got another object for me over here. What's that? That's a square. What's this shape again? That's a circle. So let's take our square. Thank you, Ryan. I'm going to take that square. I'm going to put it right here on the front of our garbage can. You here watching, tell me, tell your friends, What are we going to see next? Circles? Squircles. What kind of shape will come from our garbage can? I say we now do this experiment again. And for this, I'm going to add a little more fog. Let's put a little more fog in here. Good deal. So did you predict? Because that's what you have to do in science. You want to come up with an idea. Come up with a theory. What will we see coming out of here now? Squares or circles? Well, let's do the experiment. I do it, and you'll note it's actually still that smoke ring, that smoke circle. Now, why is it not a smoke square? Well, smoke squares are like unicorns. You want them to be real, but they don't really exist. The stability of our smoke ring is very different. You can't get that same stability in a smoke square. It doesn't happen, okay? It just won't exist. Won't stay stable for long enough to propagate across. So that's exactly what we have with there. But, you know, we've been playing in the lab a little bit. And Ryan here has a whole nother shape, the ellipse. What Ryan is now going to do is take the square away, and I'm going to take this ellipse, I'm going to put it right here on the front of the garbage can. And it turns out that something rather special happens when we use the ellipse. In fact, one of the things we just discovered in physics, cosmology, is that gravitation waves move across our universe. Well, it turns out when I put an ellipse on here, these gravitation waves look pretty much like what you're going to see right here. An oscillating ellipse coming right towards you, back and forth, as that comes out of there. And that shows you can actually do modern cosmology with a garbage can. How much fun is that? See if you can answer this question. How big is that sound? It's actually a pretty good question, right? Because we don't really know. We know how loud a sound is, how low a sound is. We measure sound through decibels, but we don't measure the size of sound usually as human beings. Why not? Because we don't see sound as human beings, right? You don't really know how large it is because that's not how we measure it with our ears. We basically have to see something to know how large it is, right? So we know an elephant is really large because we can see the elephant. We know a mouse is really small because we can see the mouse. And you don't see this sound. Or here in our show, we're going to show you exactly how large this is. And how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to use fire, of course, and you knew that already. Just like that, I'm going to make this a nice even flame, just like this, right across the top of our tube. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that sound energy back inside the tube. And when I do that, we see the size of that sound. That's exactly how big this sound is. And it looks just like a rope slinky, doesn't it? As a wave motion going up and down and up and down and up and down. If you could see that wave of sound coming to your ears right now, you would see that. And it's beautiful, right? And it's just a wave motion and kind of fun to see. But here's what we can do. I can change the tone of the sound. I can go higher in pitch, right? And when I do that, I want to ask you, what happens to the size of our sound? Well, I say we do the experiment. Predict to yourself what's going to happen and then see it. Higher sound, smaller wave. And I can go lower in pitch. And when I go lower, you see we have a bigger wave, right like that. So the low waves in sound, they're big waves. The high frequency sounds are small waves, as you can tell with our flame tube that we have right here in front of you. All right? But this is just one tone we're putting in our tube. And what might be fun is instead of using one tone, is to use a song. And I know you all have your favorite songs. I realize that. And you know what? I'm not going to play any one of them. Instead, I'm going to play a song that you might hear if you've ever been in a wedding. Let's see if you can hear the song and see the dancing waves of a song in our flame tube. There you go. And you can see that the tube reacts by giving us that large wave. And now all these different ones the dancing waves of a song in the flame tube. And that's exactly what we have in this. It's a beautiful example of the waves that you can have inside and how you can see all those different waves. In physics and in science, when we discuss temperature, we're really discussing energy. We really are. We think of high temperature as high energy, low temperature as low energy, right? We think of a thermometer as an energy scale. And what I have right here in my hand, well, this is nitrogen. But this is nitrogen at minus 300 degrees. So it becomes a liquid at minus 300 degrees. And you can see it's kind of steaming out the top. And as I pour it out, it hits the floor and expands quite a bit. It turns out the nitrogen expands to 700 times its size from a liquid to a gas. And like we say, this is low temperature, but again, low energy. So anything I put in here loses its what? Its energy. So that's what we want to see right now. And the most common question I get from people when I do shows, and I do a lot of shows, they all say to me, hey, what happens when you put your hand in the liquid nitrogen? Well, I'm not going to do that one. Instead, I'm going to do this one. What's this? This is a hot dog. And am I a hot dog or what? Oh, yeah. And this is a room temperature hot dog, right? It's not frozen or anything. About the same temperature as me. If I press on a hot dog, it just crushes. And that's exactly what would happen to my body, my hand, if I pressed on it hard enough, it just crush. I'm meat just like the hot dog, so it would crush. So if I take a hot dog and I leave it in the liquid nitrogen for a period of time, this is exactly what happens to the hot dog. This is a minus 300 degree hot dog, all right? You can see the steam coming off the hot dog, but you can also note that this is exactly what would happen to my hand. Smashes and crushes just like that. I could do the experiment twice. I got two hands. I couldn't do it again. So people see me use this stuff in shows, and usually after a show, a child will come up to me and say, hey, where can I buy myself some liquid nitrogen? I'd love to have a little bit of fun with this stuff too. No, you don't want to play with this stuff. It's actually really dangerous. Well, a lot of people die every year by playing with liquid nitrogen. What do they do to die? They drink it. A really bad thing to do. Because what happens is it expands inside your body, 700 times the size, your insides explode. A nasty way to go. You can also get a very severe burn by the liquid nitrogen. Worst burn I ever had in my entire life was liquid nitrogen. And how did I get it? Got inside the glove I was wearing, held it against my skin for 10 seconds as I pulled the glove off. Took 2 months for that burn to heal. But I can do this. I can pour the liquid nitrogen right over my hand like that. You notice that the liquid nitrogen just rides over the warm air on my hand. Never actually touched me, so I didn't get a burn. But what happens if I pour it into my hand like this? Worst burn in my entire life. So you got to be very careful with liquid nitrogen. Well, you do want to see what it can do. So let's take a look at what it can do to some everyday things. What do we have right here? Well, that's a banana. And what's that right there? Well, that happens to be a banana split. And what do we have right here? Well, these are flowers. And don't we all love flowers? But that's a room temperature flower, right? But let's take that flower and put it in the liquid nitrogen. Now, what am I doing to the flower by putting it in the liquid nitrogen? I'm taking the energy out of the flower. And there's nowhere on Earth that's really the temperature of liquid nitrogen except the lab. Right? The coldest place in Antarctica is like minus 190. So there's no place you can do this except the lab. We do this to everything. We want to know what happens to these objects when we make them this temperature. How does it act? We take the energy out. How does it act? So we take the flour out. We see it looks just like before, only now that flour breaks just like glass, Hey, this will tell you a lot about liquid nitrogen. What kind of balloon is that? Don't say hydrogen, a helium balloon. I'm going to take that helium balloon. I'm now going to roll it into liquid nitrogen. And as I do that, what happens to the balloon? Well, I'm slowing the helium down in the balloon. So the balloon gets smaller. It's no longer pressing on the inside with such force. And as the balloon gets smaller, it's actually more dense. So now it's a dense helium balloon that no longer floats. But I can take the balloon out, let it hit the floor like that. You'll note that the balloon starts to re-expand. And as it re-expands, it becomes less and less dense until finally the balloon can come up off the floor, re-expand, and come right back up. Helium balloon lives again. There you go. Everybody likes that. Now, this will also show you a lot about liquid nitrogen, because remember, it goes 1 to 700 times its size from a liquid to a gas. So if I take it, pour it in a tube like this, you can see that as the steam pours out the top of that tube, you get that expansion coming out the tube. There's a lot of energy in that expansion too. In fact, I can use that expansion right now and that energy, try to cork it, it becomes a liquid nitrogen cannon. Watch out, Cap. We have right here the beds of nails. You can see these nails on your screen right now, and they're actually nice and sharp. Remember, it's all about Newton seeing that apple fall. Or here's an apple. Gravity pulled it down, hit the nails, but you can see all those holes in our apple. Those nails on our bed of nails are very, very, very sharp. But here's our experiment. We're going to take that bed of nails. We're going to put it right down here on our floor, right down there. I'm going to take my body and lay it across that bed of nails. We then have a second bed of nails. We're going to put the nails down on my body. And then I'm going to take Michelle. Who's going to stand on me. And I'm going to be a Dave sandwich in between the beds of nails. Will I be okay? Well, I say we do the experiment and find out. Let's find out. So down here I go, on our bed of nails. And every bed needs a blanket. Mine just happens to be more nails. Right down there on my body. Yes. Oh, good. Now, I'm a Dave sandwich in between two beds of nails. And Michelle is going to add her mass to our beds of nails. And notice, I'm just fine. I'm perfectly okay. It doesn't really matter that Michelle is standing on me like this. I feel just great. No, I'm kidding. But she can get on down. Thank you, Michelle. At home, a big round of applause for Michelle. Now, we're going to take that off. And remember, our saying is in our show, That Physics Show, it's not magic, it's physics. So let's see what we mean by that. Because that looked suspiciously like a magic trick. But think about it this way. I weigh 200 pounds. If I lied down on a bed of nails with one nail, that'd be 200 pounds of force on the one nail. More than enough to pop that nail right through my body and kill me. Let's say my bed of nails had 2 nails. Well, there's 20 pounds of force on every one of those nails. More than enough to go right through my body and kill me. Let's say my bed of nails had 100 nails. 2 pounds of force on each nail. That hurts a little bit, but it won't go through human skin. You actually need about 12 pounds of force on a nail to go through human skin. Hey, I'm a scientist. I did the experiment. It was a bad day, but I can't help myself. So this is something really similar to me. Thin skin and filled with hot air, just a balloon. And this here is a whole lot of nails. Will this balloon bust on all those nails? I'd like you to predict, because it doesn't. There's not enough force in any one balloon, any one nail to go through the skin of the balloon. Here we have one with half as many nails, doubling the force on every one of those nails. Will the balloon bust this time? I say we find out. Do the experiment. Because, no, and I'm pressing, and it still doesn't bust. Here you have a bed of nails with half as many again, doubling the force one more time. Will it bust this time? Well, it's our last one. So, of course, it's going to break. Just like that, how I would pop on a bed of nails without many nails. Now, for our last demonstration, we're going to ask Ryan to go ahead and lie down on our bed of nails. Thank you, Ryan. He's quite comfy, right? And now Michelle's going to bring over a couple objects. Thank you, Michelle. The first we have is our sign, right? That Physics Show. And if you like what you see in our video, please come and see us on our off-Broadway show when we're back and running like everything else on Broadway. And it looks just like a guillotine, doesn't it? So we're going to put it right here on Ryan's neck, just like that guillotine. Next, we have a cinder block. And we're going to place this cinder block right on Ryan's rock-hard abs. Now, the last part of our experiment is the sledgehammer. So here's our experiment. Bed of nails, Ryan, brick, sledgehammer. When I break the brick, does Ryan live? What do we got to do in life? You got to do the experiment. So, 3, 2, 1. The brick. And Ryan is perfectly fine. Dave Maiolo here signing off. Thanks again for attending.
Hello, everyone. Hello, artists. My name is Philomena Jack. I am an artist, a teacher. I'm a street artist. You can see in my background here a sample of some of the street art I've made. And I love that we've been looking at science and magic. I have a presentation for you that if you're able to follow along, all you need are some crayons, a pencil, piece of paper, maybe something to draw a straight line with, but you could watch along and do this at home later. If you have chalk, you could do this on your front steps. If you have some paper, you can create this when you're at home. So if we look at my background, so here is a large mural that I created. It's called Dragonfly Love. It's located in Elmira, New York. I've done murals all over New York, up and down, and other places in the world. But you see those bubbles that I've got going on there? That's a 3D effect. It's an optical illusion. So our eyes interpret that as something that has depth, 3 dimensions, like your hand has 3 dimensions. Your piece of paper, it's mostly 2-dimensional, right? It looks like width and height. So we are using some optical illusions to create the effect that it looks like those bubbles are coming right off the wall. Does it look like they're coming right off the wall? I think so too. So I'm going to switch my camera around and I'm going to show you my work surface. I've got some paper and I've got my crayons out. I've got a pencil. I've got a straight edge. I'm going to flip my camera around and we're going to work on this all together. So follow along, play with me, and I can't wait to see what you make. So hold on, folks. I'm gonna change my background, virtual background. None, please. Now you're in my art studio. And now I am going to change my camera around so that you can see my surface. So you should be getting your crayons out, your colored pencils. Chalk would work as well. Let's get us to focus. Oh, here's my friend Bunzy. This is my friend Bunzy D. Rabbit. He travels the world with me making art. And like I said, I have made art all over the world. I am a professional artist. This is what I do to make money so I can feed my dog. And I love it. I feel like the luckiest gal. So here's an example of what we're going to work on today. Here's another example I did with some chalk. So this is still pretty smushy. I can move this around with my finger. So you could do this with chalk on your sidewalk at home. You don't need a ton of colors, or you can make it the rainbow. Side note, rainbow is my favorite color. So we're gonna work on something like this today. So what you need, my friends, my artist friends, and we are all artists here. We need a piece of paper. We need our fingers, our phalanges. We need something that is straight so we can make some lines. And I am going to be using my crayon. So when you're choosing your colors, even if you just choose one hue is another word for the name of a color. So pick something that's like a light and a dark. So I've got pink and red. I've got peach and orange. I've got light green and dark green. I've got lavender and dark purple and a black. So just pick. Let's say we're gonna pick, I'm gonna go orange and peach. So you need a light color and a darker color, and you'll also need a black, whatever crayon or colored pencil. So you could do this with colored pencils. You could do this with chalk if you wanted, but just pick out your 2 colors for now and grab your pencil. So there is a big difference, my friends, between sketching and drawing. when we are sketching, oftentimes we hold our pencil off to the side and we'll make very light marks, very light marks. When we are drawing, we often hold our pencil like this. We may still do this, and we make really strong lines. What I would like you to start by doing today is by sketching. So you may not even see this up on the camera because of my studio lights, but we are going to start by sketching. Ideally, you won't see the pencil marks at all when we're done, but maybe you will, and that's okay too. So I'm going to flip my, let's get Bunsy. Bunsy, you can help us today, okay? Thanks, buddy. I love my Bunsy rabbit. He and I teach art all over the place. We travel all over the world and make art together. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw some circles. So on my samples here, I had 3 circles. Now you could take something, focus up, camera, focus up, camera, focus, magical focus. Oh dear, please focus, camera. The magic of the non-focused camera. It looks like it's focused for you. I'm gonna keep rolling. If this is unfocused for you, I do apologize. But what I'm getting at, oh, there we go. What I'm getting at is you could trace something if you wanted, but you know what? Boosh. I say just go for it, just draw it, because the more you practice, the better you'll get. So you are going to sketch, you are going to draw lightly with your pencil, a couple of circles. I've got sort of a big one there, and it may be even so light that you don't see it on camera. I'm gonna darken mine up. You keep drawing lightly, please. So I've got one there. I've got another one there, and I'm gonna put a smaller one right about there. So I've got big, medium, small. That was step 1. Step 2 is to make some stripes going through these bubbles. So when we're doing that, we're going to hold down our straight edge, and maybe you have a ruler, maybe you have the edge of a book, maybe this is a paint stirrer. Like I said, I make a lot of street art, so I'm always stirring paint. I am going to draw a line, but I'm not going to draw the line when it intersects with the bubble. I am only going to draw the line when it's outside of the bubble. So again, I'm doing this dark. You can keep sketching. So bam, line, and I'll go on the other side. Bam, line, bam, line. Is everyone saying that with me? Bam, line. So there's one, and then I'm going to move my straight edge over a little. You could measure this. I don't know. I like to just go for it. So we've got some lines happening there, and then I'm going to do some in my medium circle here. Bam, 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 lines. Lovely. And again, notice I didn't draw through my bubble. I am just drawing outside of the bubble. So now this one I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful because it's smaller. And I'll move my line over a little bit. Boof, boof. All right, we have that. We've got lines following along. So step 1, we made some shapes, some circles. Oh, and P.S., this will work with just about any shape you do. So if you wanted to draw your hand, if you wanted to trace your hand, that would have worked too. But I'm a gal who loves bubbles. I love bubbles. So that's why we're working on bubbles today. All right, so here is part of the magic. So we had magic and science already today. So I feel like we are adding the arts to this. Magic, science, arts, amazing. So this is our next step. Anywhere that we have a line, we are going to draw a little, let's see. Oh, let's do smiley faces. So I'm gonna draw a curved line that starts and ends at those lines, those bam lines. I'm just gonna draw like a smiley face here. It's real subtle. I'm gonna go darker so that you can see it on screen, but this is another thing you could be sketching. And then I'm gonna do it again here. Just sort of a subtle smiley face. And then I'm going to do that at every single place I have a line. So it starts and ends. It starts and ends wherever I drew that initial line. Again, you could be sketching. I'm drawing, not sketching, so that you can see it on camera. My studio lights might be a little bright. Boop, boop. I also like sound effects. Did you notice I like sound effects as I'm making things? Like, oh my gosh, already, is this not looking super fantastic? Already, it looks like the optical illusion I was going for. It looks like when the line intersects with our bubble, and imagine it's a water bubble, what would it do? It would magnify. It would magnify whatever is underneath it. So now I'm going to take I chose a peach color and then a darker orange color. So I'm using crayons here, but again, you could be using colored pencils. You could be using chalk. Let's go. So I am anywhere outside of the bubble, I'm going to use my darker color. So I'm going to press real hard, press real hard, and then lighten up as I go away on this stripe. This is my stripe outside of my bubble. It is my darker tint of the hue. Hue is another name for color. So which hue is this? This is orange. All right, so I'm darker, and then I get lighter. Boop, boop, boop. And you could take your time when you're doing this on your own free time, but I want to speed through this a little bit for you, ladies and gentlemen and everyone in between. So again, dark, lighter. That's hard to say. Lighter. Everyone try that. Light. Oh my gosh. Okay, oh gosh. Hold on, folks. We're having a technical issue here. Hold on. Okay. We just had a power surge in our house. Fantastic. Okay, so back to lighter, and dark. Dark here, lighter there. Whenever you have a darker color, it recedes. It seems like it's going away. So if I push harder on my crayon, it's going to make it look like this bubble is creating a shadow. So now I have my darker orange and my peachy color. I'm going to take the peachy color and use that inside the bubble. And it's interacting a little bit with the pencil that I have. But if you were sketching, that wouldn't be such a big deal. So I am imagining that this area of my bubble is the closest to me. It is reflecting a lot more light, so it wouldn't be showing very much color. So I'm going to do that again, like right about here. I'm not going to put any of that peach color at all. And again, if you were taking your time, you could really do this up really good, really well. I am zipping along here because I want to make sure we really see this cool optical illusion come to life. Is it already looking pretty awesome? I think it's already looking pretty awesome. All right, so there's that one. Maybe I'm going to switch colors now. I'm going to use sort of this seafoam lighter green, and green is the hue color, hue name, and a darker green. So I'm lighter color inside the bubble. I press harder towards the edge, and then I get lighter. Everyone say it. Dark, lighter. And I tell you, I have been an artist for a long time. Are any of you 9 years old? Well, that's basically when I remember making my first art. And I am a lot older than 9 now. I make art just about every day. And even though I know how these optical illusions work, they still amaze me. I still feel like, wow, that's wonderful and weird and exciting. And I love playing. So I got my lighter one, now my darker one. Again, my darker one is always outside the bubble on the line. So darker, a little bit lighter. and a little bit lighter. So that mural I showed you in the beginning, called Dragonfly Love. You can stand in front of that dragonfly and take a selfie. And the bubbles in the background, this is the same exact technique I used, though I had to do some of it on tall letters and cranes, because that is a big mural. But it's the same technique. I dark, and then lighter. I kept an area open towards the center to make it look like it was extra shiny. Lighter. All right, I'm gonna go on to this middle one. I'm gonna use a lavender and a darker purple as my hue. My hue is purple. I have a tint, which is lighter and kind of a straight up purple. So inside the bubble, we know the drill. That's where your lighter one goes. Darker towards the edge. Press. And bammo. Oh, here's a fun artist tip. So if you're using crayons or this, especially for colored pencils, if you turn your tools every once in a while as you're coloring, they'll stay sharper longer because you're using each of the sides of your tools. So keep turning your crayon or your colored pencil or your piece of chalk as you're using it, and it'll keep that point pointier. Bam, that's worth price of admission right there. All right, so I've got my lighter lavender-y kind of color, and then I'm gonna take, the dark one outside the bubble, dark, and get lighter. Does it look like magic? I feel like it looks like magic. Again, you can do this with any shape you like. So start by sketching lightly your shape, and then take a straight edge and draw lines around the shape. And then anytime one of those lines intersects with the shape you've made, you're gonna curve the line. And I said smiley faces, but you could make it like rainbow shape like this. You see, it works that way too. Lighter. All right, we've got this last one here. I think I'm going to use pink and red. And hey, here's another artist tip. When you break a crayon, don't be sad. You now have 2 crayons. You can share one with your buddy. How lucky are you? So inside the bubble, light pink. And again, I'm pressing a little bit more and then getting, say it with me, lighter. Dark, lighter. And then I'll take my red crayon, because the hue red is in general we conceive it as darker than pink. And this would be fun. You could switch up the colors. You can completely switch up the colors. Like maybe the optical illusion you're creating is, let's say, black and white stripes and then colors inside the shape, that when you get the optical illusion that it also changes color. You could play around with this. This looks so amazing as chalk art. So if you have some chalk, and you have your front steps or a safe place on your driveway, ask the adults around you first if there's a safe place for you to do this on at your house. Give this a go. Okay, so final step. I'm gonna take my black crayon here, and again, you could do this with a colored pencil, and I am just going to make the bubble itself have a bit of a shadow. So I am working on this right here, or if we look at this sample, this right here, you can see with the chalk, you really can get some beautiful blends because you can just use your fingers to move everything around. All right, so darker, and then say it with me, lighter. All right, and darker. Yesterday, like I said, I'm a street artist. I legally make art on buildings and electric boxes, and I've made art on walls in schools. Yesterday I had a commission on an art space outside. They wanted something that talked about dance and movement, and of course I added some of these bubbles because they felt like they were floating. So I called the mural, I used spray paint yesterday, I called the mural We Float. The idea that the dancers float around and these bubbles give the feeling of that floating. So see, okay, so I've added my shadow here and here. And the shadow here, ooh, another pro art tip. The shadow always touches the object. The shadow always touches the object. I dare you to go outside and make a shadow with your body and try to get your shadow to not touch your foot. I dare you. I don't think you can do it. If you can do it, let me know, because we have got to have to call NASA because maybe you were floating. So darker, 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 and lighter, lighter, lighter. And I want you to also notice that I've called you all artists. Even if art isn't your favorite subject, or you don't want to study art if you go on to more schooling, or you don't want to do art as a profession, I am calling you all artists because I truly, truly believe we are all artists. We are all artists. We all have the ability to make art. When we are little kids, someone hands us a crayon, and you know what? We don't have to be instructed. We know exactly what to do. So here I'm gonna, my last step, my second to last step. Thank you, Bunzi. Thank you for reminding me. Second to last step is I'm just going to sketch in the top of the bubble and give a little smiley face just to show the curve. So I'm sketching in with my black and down here a little bit, and just a little curve, here again, and a little curve. All right. Now we are on to the last step, my friends. The last step. This is sort of like how you give yourself a high five. I want you to sign your artwork. So even if you don't think it is the best artwork you've ever seen, I don't care. You tried. You know how the students in my classes get an A? They try. It's not that they've made the most wonderful, perfect, blah, 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 the most wonderful, perfect circle, or the most wonderful, perfect rainbow. It's the fact that they tried. That's how they get an A in my class. Okay, on to the last step. Ready? Grab one of your tools. I'm going to take the purple. And I want you to sign your artwork. Always know that doing a thing is worthy of you signing it, because you tried, because you maybe experimented, because you used your brain muscles. And I'm excited that you used your brain muscles. How we doing? Are you having fun? If you have any questions, you can find me all over the internet. I am Philomena Jack. I would love to interact more with you and see what kind of art you're making. My friend Bunzi and I want to wish you a super good day. Have a great day. Enjoy the Maker Faire. Bye.
Thank you, Philomena, for that wonderful session. We will be starting our next session shortly.
Eighth and fifth graders all over the place. That's why I am so excited that the Long Island Explorium and Maker Faire Long Island invited me to come down and be part of your Student Maker Day today. Oh, we're gonna have so much fun. My name is Larry Moss, and I wanna share with you, I've been a maker my whole life. From the time I was your age, I've always gone out of my way to make my own things, to solve my own problems with the materials I could find around me. That's why I can't wait to show you me today. The only thing is, before we get started, I do have one really important rule. It's a rule that I always ask all of my audiences to follow. And that rule is that you have to have fun, because if you don't, I might ask you to leave. I mean, I don't want to bring down everybody else here that is enjoying themselves. So work with me. I promise we're going to have a really good time. See, the story I wanted to tell you was one that goes back to when I was really little. I think it was actually when I was smaller than you guys. It was when I was just starting school. And I remember every single day the school bus would come in the morning, I'd get on the bus. And when the bus left, or, I'd wave bye to my mom and I'd not see her until the end of the day. Well, there was this one day that I remember as I was getting on the bus, my mom said to me, said, I have a meeting after school today. And if the bus comes back and you don't see me standing here at the end of the day, don't worry about it. I'll be right back. If you don't see me, do what you do every day. Get off the bus, walk up to the house and go in and wait for me inside and I'll be right back. Well, sure enough, that day I got off the bus. I looked around, my mom wasn't there. And you can imagine I was pretty little at the time. So I was a little worried at first. And then I was like, no, that's okay. She told me this could happen. She told me she might be a little late. So I figured I would do exactly what I do every single day. I walked off the bus. I walked right up to the front door of the house. I walked through the door. Well, I opened it first. And when I got inside the house, I looked around and I realized there was nobody there. I didn't know at the time a lot about the way TVs worked. But one thing I did know is that they shouldn't make any noise until after they're turned on. And this one, well, I was already hearing sound. So that told me the sound wasn't actually coming from the TV. It was coming from someplace else in the house. So I started to walk around the house. I would look around everywhere. I looked under things. I looked over things. I even decided to walk upstairs looking, trying to find where this noise was coming from. And as I walked, as I stepped, I heard creaking underneath my feet. And the creaking got louder and louder, and I got more and more scared. Now, if any of you get scared as I tell the rest of this story, don't worry, all you have to do is cover your eyes. And if you get really, really scared, cover the eyes of the person next to you. Or, well, you get the idea. But it wasn't that bad. See, after walking around enough and getting to the very top of the stairs, at last, I actually did find the noise. I saw what it was that scared me. Would you believe it turned out to be just a little tiny mouse? Well, when I saw that that's all it was, I wasn't scared anymore, obviously. I was angry. I was so angry that that little mouse could upset me that much, could scare me that much, that I knew there was only one thing for me to do. I was going to get even. So I reached out to grab that mouse. But he managed to get away. And I thought, that's okay. I'm obviously a lot bigger than he is. I'm not going to let that cause any trouble for me. I'm not going to let this mouse leave me hanging here. So I decided to sit on the side and wait. I waited in the corner and I watched carefully. And at last, he poked his nose out again. He started to crawl in my direction. And I was ready. When he was all the way out, I leaped forward and I tried again. And that time, he got away again. But still, I told you I was a maker, and I thought about that, and I remembered something that my teacher taught us in school. She taught us that whenever you can't solve a problem by yourself, you can use something to help you out, something called a machine, to make your job a little bit easier. Well, when I looked around me, I saw all sorts of machines. I mean, outside during the day, there were trucks and buses and cars, and inside on walls there were clocks and pencil sharpeners. There were machines to solve all sorts of problems. And it turns out that day there was a machine to solve the problem that day also. The machine was called a mousetrap. The problem is that every mousetrap I'd ever seen had these big jaws that come down, and I didn't want to hurt the mouse. I wanted to catch it and carry it outside. But the other thing my teacher taught us is that whenever you can't solve a problem by yourself, all you had to do was understand the smaller, simple machines that all of the bigger machines are made of. And that's what we're going to do today. See, that day that I was home alone, I built the coolest mousetrap in the entire world using all of those smaller, simple machines that my teacher talked about. When I learned about those simple machines, I looked around at all of the machines that were around me, and I saw machines that were made out of metal and wood and plastic and glass. And I didn't have metal or wood or plastic or glass to use to build my bigger machine. But what I found were a lot of art materials, things that I use to create all sorts of art. And my favorite of those is a balloon. Now, the thing about balloons is that in order to use them, you have to blow them. Try this one. You have to blow them up. Oh, here we go. This end. You know what? I said that whenever you can't solve a problem by yourself, you can use a machine to help you out. I happen to have a machine with me just for this purpose to help me out with balloons. I have a balloon pump. I can put the balloon on the end of the pump and blow it up. And now I can do all sorts of cool things with it. Of course, it's kind of hard for me to do this all by myself. So to make this a little bit easier, I asked for some help from my cousin. My cousin Larry happens to be in the lab right now. We're just gonna go to him for a second and he'll explain. The first simple machine I learned about when I went to school was a lever. My teacher talked about it. It looked just like a stiff bar, a straight rod. You couldn't do a whole lot with it unless you rested it on top of something. If I rested on top of something called a fulcrum, it becomes a lot more useful. I'll show you what I mean. I have here a lever sitting on top of a fulcrum. What happens now is one end of the lever is up in the air, one end of the lever is down. If I push down on the end of the lever that's in the air, it becomes the end that's down, and the end that was down goes up. I push down on this end, that end goes down, this end goes up. Now I know what you're thinking. Thinking Paul, which is really weird since my name is Larry, you're thinking big deal, why would I need to do that? Well, let's imagine that I have something really heavy that I want to lift. I'm thinking of something now. Imagine you're on your way home from school, and while you're walking home, you see something that you see every day on your way home from school, but today is a little different because today you want to pick it up and take it with you. That thing that I'm thinking of is a flamingo. Every day on your way home from school, you see it. Today is different. Today you decide you're going to pick it up and carry it home. Let's say I wanted to lift this flamingo. In order to get it into the air, I'd have to fight the force of gravity that's pulling it down, making the flamingo actually heavier than it might otherwise seem. So I might use a machine to help me out, and I have here a lever. If I were to put the flamingo on the end of the lever, now when I want to lift it, instead of lifting straight up, fighting gravity, I'm going to push down in the same direction gravity is pushing me. I push down. The fulcrum here changes the direction of the force that I applied, so the flamingo goes up. When I let go, gravity pulls the flamingo back down. I push down, the flamingo goes up. I let go, it goes down. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking Paul, which is getting really annoying because I told you my name is Larry. You're thinking, I have never seen a flamingo sitting by itself on my way home from school. Right. So let me make this a little more realistic example. Let's say this time you're on your way home from school, and what you see are two flamingos sitting next to each other, and you want to pick both of them up. Well, we have one on one end of the lever. I'm going to put the other one on the other end of the lever. So now we have one flamingo in the air, one down on the ground. When that one goes down, this one goes up. When this one goes down, that one goes up. One flamingo up, one flamingo down. We've made a little teeter-totter. Now, what's cool about that is that that tells us something really important about machines. I already said we could use machines to help us do our work. We can use the lever to lift one or the other, but now I've used it to make something that we play on. You don't have to use machines just to do work. You can use machines for fun and play also. Now, there are a lot of different uses for levers. For example, the first one that comes to my mind, you may have even used today. I have a feeling most of you used at least one of these, if not early this morning, maybe last night. The first one that I'm thinking of is a light switch. Right, a light switch is just a little lever. You push up, it flips up in one direction, push down the other way. That lever, there's a little fulcrum inside the wall that you don't really see that allows that to move. Or the one that you might use to write your name. For example, a pencil. A pencil, a pen, a crayon, a magic marker. Those are all levers too, and my wrist is the fulcrum that lever moves on. Now, there are so many things you can do with levers, and a long time ago, people realized that too. They realized that if they wanted to, they could even put a couple of these together, and two levers working together with a fulcrum in the middle might form a giant pair of scissors. That's kind of cool. You can put two levers together. You can find levers everywhere. You can put them together to make bigger things. You can put lots of them together. Who knows what you can dream of? So maybe you could even make that mousetrap we were talking about before. Now, I hope you enjoyed watching that little demo as much as I did. My favorite part of learning about the things we can do, the pens, the pencils, even my elbow is a fulcrum for my arm. My favorite part was realizing how many things you can do with just one simple little tool if you use your imagination. In fact, it seems like there are so many things that you can do with levers that I would love right now to go ahead, use all of those levers, and build the coolest mousetrap in the entire world. Except that I don't think we can just yet, because there are other simple machines that we might want to add to this. Let's go back to the lab and see if Larry can help us out. The next machine I want to talk about is something called a wheel. Let's figure out a situation where this is important first, and then you'll understand why I'm doing it. Imagine you get home from school this time, you get off the school bus, you look at your house and you discover a tree fell in front of your front door. Well, what are you going to do to get inside? You could do what I would do and just climb in through the window. Or you might try to pick up that tree and move it away from the door. Of course, you probably realize trees get awfully heavy. So instead of picking it up and moving it, you might look at what happens if you cut all of the branches off of the tree. What's left, the trunk of the tree is round, and round things roll. So you can make it easy to roll it away from the door. Now, I said a wheel is what we were making, not a tree trunk. But imagine you don't only move things that happen to be round like tree trunks. That's why people made wheels, to emulate that sort of thing, to move them. So for example, let's imagine that we were making our own wheel. And we wanted to move things like we could put a wheel on our book bag to carry our books to and from school. Or we might sit on a wheel. Something with one wheel might be called a unicycle. Some of you may have tried to ride a unicycle. Others might realize that a unicycle is actually really tough to balance on. So what we do to solve that problem, just like we did with the lever, where we put two levers together to make a bigger, more complex thing, we can do the same thing with wheels. We can put two wheels together to make something more complex and easier to balance on. Now, of course, putting those together, we need one more piece here. Oh, this will be fun. While I'm doing this, just by a show of hands, how many of you would like to see something really cute? I said cute, not funny. But it could be a necklace, an earring, a nose ring. Oh, never mind. I could use that last balloon to hold together those two wheels that I made to make that bigger, more complex thing we were talking about. We could use those two wheels and maybe make a bicycle. You know what? You get the idea. You have a motorcycle with one handlebar. So when I had one wheel, I had a unicycle. With two wheels, I could have a bicycle. But we don't have to stop there. We could have more wheels than that. With three wheels, we could have a tricycle. With four wheels, a car. Or with more wheels, trucks or buses. I just want you to see examples of how far this can go. You probably couldn't really see up close how those wheels work. That's why I have another wheel that I brought with me, a really big wheel that everybody can see. And I can see you. Well, the cool thing about the wheel, it has a hole in the middle. And that hole is there for something else that we use, called an axle. If I put the axle through the center of that hole, now the wheel can turn. Now imagine if we had a whole bunch of these wheels. I want you to see what we can do if we have enough wheels. Oh, you're back. That looked like so much fun playing with wheels that I had to pull out this car that I had been working on and see what else I could do with it. And again, I'm left like before when I was watching the levers and all the things you could do with levers. I kept thinking about all of the things that you could do with wheels and making cars and buses and trucks and rolling things all over the place. That I want to go and build that giant mousetrap. But just like before, we're not done yet. We're going to go back to the lab and see what else Larry has in store for you. Now, wheels turn out to be so useful that we have other versions of wheels too. One specific type that I'm thinking of right now is its own class of simple machine. It's called a pulley. It has a groove down the center. And that groove is the right size to fit a piece of rope. And just like the wheel we were talking about a moment ago, it'll turn on an axle. Let me show you how that works. If I run the axle through the center of my wheel, and attach it here, you can see now how just like that other wheel, this pulley turns. But if I have that giant rope that we were talking about going over the pulley, you can see now when I pull one side of the rope, the pulley turns, the rope keeps going. So if I pull down over here, this other rope moves up. I pull down here, that goes up. I pull down here, this one goes up. But by itself, you probably wonder why we would do that. Let's say we had something really heavy we wanted to pick up. Let's say we had something like a one-handlebar motorcycle that we wanted to lift. Like earlier when we were lifting things with the lever, if I have that heavy object at the end of my rope, I can pull down now in the direction gravity is pulling me. I pull down, the pulley turns, and the bike goes up. I let go, the bike goes down. Now, one of the differences between this and the lever is the lever, we only had a certain amount of space we could go. If you had a really tall fulcrum, sure, you could lift something really high, but then how are you going to get to the end of the lever that's up in the air? With the pulley, we could put the pulley on the top of something really tall, like say a flagpole. So now I'm not just lifting things that are heavy, I could lift things to places I can't reach. If I want to put a flag on the top of the flagpole, pulley on top, me at the bottom, I attach the flag and I pull on the rope, kind of like this, so that now when I look up at the top of my flagpole, there's my motorcycle. But you get the idea. Now, if you're paying attention like I am, you might have a thought here. You might want to compare this to the other simple machines we used and realize that, well, when we talked about levers, there was a way to put them together. We made bigger things with the levers. For example, we made scissors. And when we used wheels, we were able to put them together and make a car. So it only makes sense that there should be a way of putting pulleys together to make something just a tad bit more complicated also. When we talked about levers, we put a couple of them together, we made scissors. When we talked about wheels, we put some of them together, we made a motorcycle and a car. Well, if we put a couple of pulleys together, we can make something with that too. all we need is a long rope to go between them, and then we're making a little pulley system. And pulley systems have a lot of different uses in a lot of different places. But I want to start with something more practical for you guys. Imagine you're in school and your best friend sits on the opposite end of the classroom from you, and your teacher has asked you guys to be quiet. Well, you don't want to yell across the room and get in trouble. So instead, you could set up this pulley system in your classroom. One pulley over your desk at that end of the room, the other pulley over his desk at that end of the room. And now when you want to talk to each other, you just send notes back and forth. From your desk, you write a note on a piece of paper, stick it onto the rope, you pull on the rope. That note travels all the way to the other end. He takes the note off, he reads it, he writes an answer, and he sends it all the way back to you. And you can go on doing this all day. And the best part is teachers never see it. I know a lot of teachers, and I've asked them, and they've told me they've never caught their kids doing this in class. Now, as I watched that, I thought this would be a great time to step back. We talked before about how you can use any material, but we've only been using balloons. I didn't want you to think that I'm only teaching you stuff that you can do with balloons and nothing else. So I looked around while I was watching Larry over there in the lab. I was looking around on my desk to see what I could find. And I, in fact, found little wood pieces that I could use to put together to make individual little pulleys and put them together into a pulley system so that when I pull on the rope, I have here kind of a little flagpole. I can raise a flag up on my little pulley system. But still, as many things as we've done, it's not quite enough to go ahead and build the coolest mousetrap in the world. So let's see what else we have. Let's imagine you're in school and you want to move from the first floor to the second floor. That's a different kind of machine than we've used so far. Sure, you could get in an elevator and go up and down if you're really lazy and if you're lucky enough to be in a school that has an elevator. Or we could just use stairs. Stairs are a special kind of simple machine. So I said we were going to pretend that we wanted to get from one floor to another. I'm just going to make a little friend to work with us here so you can see what that might look like. There we go. We have our little friend here wants to go from one floor to the other. Let's say he's upstairs and he sees that lots of things are going on down below that look really fun. Well, the reason he's going to use that machine, those stairs, is if he were to jump through a hole to get to the floor, he might bang his head when he got down. We don't want that to happen. And getting back upstairs, could you imagine if he had to jump really high to get through a hole in the ceiling? No, stairs solve that problem. Now, stairs are a special version of a machine called an inclined plane. An inclined plane is a ramp, a slope. So round things like balls and wheels can roll down it. You can walk up it without a whole lot of effort. What makes stairs different is they have these flat ledges, these steps that are flat enough and easier for your feet to move. So now, if our friend here wanted to go from one level to another, he could go on that ramp, that inclined plane, and just roll from one level to another until he falls out. Good thing we caught him. Our bag of tricks is filling up. Levers, wheels, pulleys, inclined planes. Still not enough to build the coolest mousetrap in the entire world. Because when you're done understanding how to build this really cool mousetrap, I'm hoping you understand how to build all sorts of different things. Now, we've modified a lot of the things we've made, like the lever we were able to modify and not just put it together, but make different shapes out of it, and it could still be a lever. The wheel we modified, we turned it into a pulley. An inclined plane, there's another simple machine that's a modification of that I think you ought to know about because it comes in very handy. The last machine we're going to talk about today before we go and put everything together to make the coolest mousetrap in the entire world is a screw. Now, a screw is really just a special case of the last machine that we talked about, the inclined plane. When you think about it, if you take a screw and you turn it so it goes into a piece of wood, the wood chips are climbing up the side of it, just like a person going up a spiral staircase or down a spiral slide. Now, we don't have, I want you to see how the machine works, how this screw works. I can't put the screw into a piece of wood and have you see it turning and all of that. So I didn't make a screw that goes into wood. My screw passes through the air. As the air molecules climb up the sides of it, like you going up a spiral staircase, it forces it to spin. Now, I wanted you to be able to see that that screw that you just saw was really big, and you might not have gotten the idea of exactly what it looks like. So I actually brought a real screw with me. The idea is pretty much the same. So actually here, if I show you the balloon screw again, you can see that ledge that goes up the sides of it. On a much smaller scale, we have the actual screw that still has that ledge that looks just like that inclined plane, that spiral inclined plane, and a piece of wood to put it into. You can see how with a screwdriver, there we go, we might be able to build a lot of things with that very basic tool. And now this is the point we've been waiting for, because with all the things we've talked about, now we actually can go ahead and build the coolest mousetrap in the world. Now that we've got all of those pieces, lever, wheel, pulley, inclined plane, and screw, let's see if we can put them all together to make the coolest mousetrap in the world that we were talking about earlier. Oh, this is exciting. I think I'm gonna sit here and sit back and just watch what's coming. I have put together all of the simple machines we've talked about, lever, wheel, pulley, inclined plane, and screw, into the coolest mousetrap in the entire world. Because in the beginning, you remember what we were trying to do was catch a mouse. So we're going to start over here. I'm going to walk you through the various pieces. I have a wheel of cheese waiting for that mouse to arrive. That's the lure that's going to get the mouse underneath the cage. When the mouse is under the cage, we need the cage to fall from above and land on top, trapping it so that I can reach underneath, pick it up, and carry it outside. So in order to get that cage up in the air, I attached a rope to the top of the cage and ran it across this pulley so that I didn't have to attach it to the ceiling. I could, from the side, pull on that rope, lifting up the cage. The pulley changed the direction of the force that I applied, so even though I was pulling to the side, the cage went up. The rope then runs all the way along here, getting me further away from the mouse, and is secured at this end. Now, when I want that cage to fall, I just need something to cut the rope. If I were to reach out, I'd get too close to the mouse and probably scare it away before we have a chance to catch it. So instead, I have set this pair of scissors. The scissors lined up with the rope now. If something were to land on top of this blade of the scissor, the lower blade is secure. So if something lands on top of the top blade, it'll close, the rope will get cut, the cage will fall on top of the mouse. I can then reach underneath, pick up the mouse, and carry it outside. All we need now is for something to land on the scissors. I have a ball sitting here in a position along an inclined plane, so that if I were to give that ball a little nudge, it would roll all the way down, land on top of the scissors, so that then the scissors close, the rope gets cut, the cage falls on top of the mouse, reach underneath, pick up the mouse, and carry it outside. I just need something to nudge the ball. So I have here a lever sitting on top of its own little fulcrum there. So if I were to push down on this lever, this end goes down, that end of the lever goes up, nudging the ball rolls down, falls on top of the scissors, scissors close, rope gets cut, cage falls on top of the mouse. I want to be real far away from that mouse when this starts. So I'm going to be way back here where I have a screw set, so that all I have to do is turn this screw. When I turn this screw, it'll push down on that lever, lifting up that end of the lever, nudging the ball, causing it to roll down the inclined plane, landing on top of the scissors close, the rope gets cut, the cage falls on top of the mouse, and we're ready to take that mouse outside. Okay. Is he here? Really? Yes. All I have to do now is turn the screw, which pushes down on the lever, lifting up the end that inclined plane nudging the ball. The ball lands on the scissors. Now, you've seen how with lever, wheel, pulley, incline plane, and screw, you can do all sorts of things. You can build some of the most amazing things around that you would need. And if you look around you, you're going to see examples of levers, wheels, pulleys, incline planes, and screws all around you. You're going to see machines that use them for all sorts of things. And I'm going to encourage you to do that. And to build your own things, you don't have to use the materials that somebody else used, and you don't have to use the balloons like I do. Maybe you have Lego bricks or other building blocks, or I don't know, paper cups, paper plates, just sheets of paper. You can make so many different things just by experimenting a little bit. Well, I hope you guys have a great time through the rest of your Maker Day and the rest of your Maker Days, because I'm pretty sure you're going to have a lot of them. See you later, everybody.
Hello, 5th, 4th, and 3rd graders. My name is Adam Krutinger, and I'm a YouTuber and puppeteer. I was invited by the Long Island Explorium, who hosts Maker Faire Long Island, to their first ever Student Maker Day. And I'm so excited because today we're going to be making puppets. But not just any puppets. We're going to make a puppet out of simple materials that you can find around the house or classroom. Here's an example of what your puppet could look like. Here he is, a nice simple puppet with a moving mouth. Let's get to
To the puppet nerds of the world, this may sound absurd, but this is the place you need to be. We'll do an interview and then we'll stitch and glue all of the dolls we'll make and shake. If you want to be in the know and to play like a pro, subscribe to Krutinger Puppets.
Now, there's a couple different ways to do this, but I'm going to start off with the most simple method. After you make your first paper puppet, I hope you'll explore making more advanced paper puppets too, and even go on to making more real professional style puppets like the ones on my YouTube channel. And I have a lot of resources there for you too. And for today, the only supplies you're going to need is a piece of paper and some markers. You're going to start off by taking this paper and folding it part way up like this. As you can see, I folded it about 2/3 of the way up. And then all I'm going to do is fold the other side over it as well. So here's the down view. The paper looks kind of like this. Now fold it back together, and the next thing I'm going to do is fold this entire piece in half like this. If you did it correctly, it should look like a letter V, and that seam should be in the back. Now all I'm going to do is take each side of the V and fold it in half down, just like this. There's one side. And there's the other. Now, believe it or not, our puppet is pretty much done here. This is going to be the body of our puppet. And here's how it works. You just take your fingers and you put them in this hole in the top part here. And then you put your thumb in this bottom hole. And just like that, you're able to operate this like a real puppet. But in order to make this look even more like a real puppet, we're going to want to add some designs and features. Things like the inside of the mouth, the eyes, and maybe even a little bit of color on the front of the puppet. So let's get started. I like to start off with the inside of the mouth first. So for that, what I'm going to draw is a tongue. I'm going to draw a tongue right here, and I do that just by drawing a heart shape like this. And then I'm going to color it in. If you don't have any markers, that is totally fine. You can absolutely use crayons or colored pencils as well. Next, I'm going to make the whole inside of the mouth. I'm going to use pink for this, so there's a little bit of contrast. And I'm just drawing a rectangle inside of these center two squares. So that way, when this mouth closes, you won't see the inside of the mouth. And I'm going to color that in too. just like that. Next, I like to draw that little uvula in the back of the mouth. That's that little thing that dangles when you open your mouth in the back of your throat. And to do that, I'm going to use this black marker. And I'm just going to draw a letter U shape right here. And then some parentheses going around it like that. So when I color that in, it's going to look like a hole in the back of the throat. I'm going to add a little more details to the tongue too. And as you can see, our puppet is already taking shape. Next, I'm going to design the face of the puppet. I want to make mine into a blue monster. So what I'm going to do first is make some eyes. Then you can add some pupils. I like to just do some little black dots, but you can have fun with it too. On this example that I made over here, I gave this one a swirly eye because I thought it would make him a little bit more crazy looking. And now I'm just gonna make him into a furry blue monster like this. For this, you could use all types of different colors. You could use multiple colors, make it into a rainbow monster. That would be fun. You could really do whatever your little art desires. And just like that, we have our puppet finished. Hi, hello there. How's it going? Wow, this is a fun place. What a fun little project this is. Hey, we should make myself some friends too. Ah, there. I'll be your friend. Oh, hey. Hey, what do you want to do? I don't know. Do you want to go get some ice cream? Ooh, yeah. That sounds good. Let's go. All right. These little puppets are so much fun. You can come up with little improv stories like that, or really make your whole own puppet show, whether you're making it for a video on YouTube or a video to send to your family members. It can be so much fun creating your own little stories with these simple puppets. However, if you want, you can make them a little bit more advanced too. Just by using construction paper, it introduces so many different colors that you can use. And also you can cut the construction paper to make different color eyes and horns, maybe if you want to do that, or any type of details that you can imagine. Here's a couple examples of some more advanced paper puppets that I've made in the past. This one was made using construction paper, and I cut out little white construction paper for the eyes, and even the tongue and inside of the mouth are made out of construction paper too. And one thing I did to make this puppet a little bit more sturdy is that seam in the back, I actually glued it shut. This one is still unglued. It does work if you don't glue it, but sometimes it's nice to make it a little bit more secure by gluing it. I also added a little unicorn horn to add some more details, and I found some craft fur, but you could also use craft feathers or really any type of yarn or whatever you can find around the house or around your classroom. Here's another one that's pretty much the same. I just used some different colors and I gave him a little pom-pom for a nose. I thought that was pretty funny. One more cool thing you can do with the markers is this is another blue monster that I made before, and I gave him a little mustache. I thought that was pretty funny, but you can actually make the puppets reversible too. So you can double the amount of puppets to your repertoire without having to make a whole second puppet. Here's an even more advanced one here. This one is a duck. What's a duck's favorite food? Quackers, get it? Wow. This puppet was made exactly the same. The only thing I did is I took a large piece of orange paper and I stuck it inside the mouth and glued it. And then I just trimmed it to the shape of a beak. And I even put little scraps of paper as little feathers on top. And I'm pretty happy with how this little guy turned out. But don't feel limited by these options. Really use your imagination and create your own design. The possibilities are really limitless, and I'm sure you are all going to come up with something really cool. And if you make any of these puppets, I'd love to see them. Make sure to take a picture of them, or maybe make your own little skit, and you can send it to me. Just tag @Adam Krutinger at any platform, and I'd be happy to check it out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this project. I hope this project inspired you to get into puppetry. I have so many different puppetry projects you can check out. Some involve sewing, some are just gluing. Not to mention, a puppet can really be made out of anything. So I really encourage everyone to explore the world of puppetry as a whole. Thank you again to the Long Island Explorium for inviting me to this, and I hope the rest of your Student Maker Day is full of fun and creativity. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today at our first ever Student Maker Day. We're approaching our 12 o'clock mark, and we thank all our incredible makers for joining us. I hope all the students had fun. Please, teachers, if you have any wonderful pictures or photos of their work, please feel free to share it with us and tag us on Facebook or Instagram. We also will be restreaming many of these videos this week on our YouTube channel. So if you have not already, please visit us at YouTube. I've also put a YouTube safe link in the chat, and I'll repost this afterwards. But thank you again, students. For those that are able to stay on, we're going to be loading on another wonderful segment because we've had a number of makers, more so than our time allotted. So if you have time and you'd like to stay on, please stay on for Code Joy. We'll be shortly starting soon. Thank you.
Hello there. I'm Kelsey Derringer here with CodeJoy, and what you're about to watch is a 25-minute long session, which served about 45 students in the US and taught them how to code with a microbit, plus introduced them to the Do Your Bit Challenge. Now, the Do Your Bit Challenge is a global challenge put on by the Microbit Foundation, and it encourages students age 8 to 18 to engage with the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. Now, the session that you're about to watch is called Robot Relaxation, and it engages with Global Goal 13, Good Health and Well-Being. If you would like to code and participate along with us, you can head to this bit.ly link right here, which will open a Google Doc, which has all of the links and information you need to code and make right along with us. It's our hope that you and any students watching will get inspired to think about how a microbit could help you support other people's good health and well-being. If you'd like to learn how to submit an idea to the Do Your Bit Challenge, stay tuned after and we'll take you through the process. All right, enjoy Robot Relaxation. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am so glad you're here. My name is Kelsey. I'm going to be your teacher while we learn about coding and robotics through relaxation today. Now, I'm not here by myself, as always. I am joined by my director and producer, Matt the Robot, from his studio underneath my kitchen sink. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Kelsey. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Do you want to remind people what you do there underneath the sink?
Yes, it is my job to monitor the chat. So anything that you type in the chat, I can read. So if you've got any questions or comments, please type those in. And speaking of questions, I've got a question for all of you. I am wondering, what do you do to relax? What do you do to relax? Type that in the chat and I will bring it into the show.
That's right. We can't see you and we can't hear you because this is a webinar, but the chat is a great place to participate today. And it's also how we're going to be sharing code back and forth. So make sure you know how to use that chat. And I'm interested, Matt, what do they do to relax?
Well, it looks like AJ enjoys sleeping. Leighton likes listening to music. Let's see. Emily also enjoys sleeping. Katya also enjoys sleeping. Dominique likes watching TV. Let's see. What else do we got here? Kai likes to take a deep breath. Henry likes to hang out with his dogs. Ava.
Matt, I'm so sorry, but I'm hearing this sound. It's like this rattling sound. Is that coming from down by you from the pipes?
No, it's not coming from down here. It sounds like it might be coming from inside the walls. And if it's coming from inside the walls, I'm willing to bet it's LB.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys remember LB, right? Little robot, yay tall, always making trouble, lives in my walls. Let me go check. It's probably him. This is probably all a misunderstanding. Hey, LB? Hey, I'm trying to teach a class. Can you maybe keep... Oh, I'm sorry. Are you trying to teach a class right now? Oh, I did not realize you were a teacher. And it looks like you guys have a test today. I am so sorry for interrupting. Hello there. Yes, it's nice to meet you too, but I'm sorry for interrupting, but I'm hearing this rattling sound and I'm wondering, do you guys have any idea where that might be coming from? Oh my gosh, LB, one of your students is shaking really badly. Who is that? What's her name? Kiki. Okay, well, hello there, Kiki. It's nice to, oh gosh. LB, she's shaking terribly. Do you have any idea what's wrong? No? All right, well, in order to help, we're gonna have to figure that out. Hey, Matt, do you think you could access Kiki's microcontroller remotely so that we could figure out what's going on in her head?
Sure thing. Entering Kiki's microcontroller right now.
Oh my goodness, poor Kiki. She is so freaked out that she might fail this test that she can't focus at all. This is terrible. Well, I think I have an idea that might help. Hey, LB, could you hold off on giving that test for a couple minutes? Okay, great. All right. So here's what I think we can do. Let's learn a breathing technique that could maybe help Kiki calm down a little bit. So let's learn it ourselves first, and then we'll translate it into something that she can do. All right. So wherever you are, go ahead and push yourself away from your computer or your phone or your desk a little bit, and let's learn this breathing technique together. I call this one the forklift, and it involves taking a deep breath in and raising your arms up in front of you for 3 seconds. And then you hold your breath for 3 seconds, and then you let your breath out and you bring your arms down to your sides for another 3 seconds. So let's do that together. Ready? Go. Hold. And you can do that a few times just to encourage yourself to take a deep breath. Hopefully that's helped you a little bit. This is a great breathing technique to do if you are a human with lungs, but Kiki is a robot. So we've got to translate this into something that she can do, like code. So in the chat right now, we are going to share a hyperlink with you that's going to open up some code. It'll look like this. Now, to get inside that code and change it, click at the very top. There's a gray button that says edit code. Click that. And now you've got this little LED code for a microbit that builds a little arrow up, like our arms coming up. It has a square when you hold your breath, and then it has an arrow going down when we put our arms down. So we took this breathing technique that we did with our bodies and we translated it to a visualization with LEDs. And that's what we want you guys to do. Come up with your own visualization to help Kiki take a deep breath using the LEDs on that microbit. You can go ahead and start whenever you're ready, but let me give you a couple other pointers about how to use these blocks. So if we zoom in on the code here, you'll see that there are these show LED blocks, and you can make the LEDs turn on or off just by clicking these blocks or unclicking these blocks, and you'll see whatever you program appear on the simulator on the side of your screen. So you can kind of check to make sure that you are making the drawing you think you're making, or it is building or moving like you want it to. So try to create something that, you know, moves out and in, or up and down, or around, whatever you think. This is kind of like an animation, like a cartoon that you build frame by frame with these different little blocks. So mine was an arrow, you should make your own. And when you're ready, when you have an animation that you want to show to Kiki to help her take a deep breath, share your code back with us. Here's how. You'll go up to the top and you'll click this button that says share. And then you'll give it a name. Make sure you put your name in it here. Where it says name, I would put Kelsey, because my name's Kelsey. You click publish project, and then you copy that hyperlink and paste it back in the chat. And that's how you can share your code back with us so that we can show it to Kiki. So I'll come down to you, Matt, while some students post codes.
Wonderful. Yep, I'll be monitoring the chat for those links. So go ahead and take your time making this animation. But as soon as you're done, type that link into the chat and we will bring it into the show.
Fantastic. And while you guys are finishing working here, why don't we check in on Kiki? Because, hey, maybe she's all better. Let's see. Oh, nope, not all better. Well, I'll tell you what. I think it is really helpful in these situations to just take that student out of that stressful situation. So I'm just going to reach in there and get her. And Matt, can you help me locate Kiki? Because I can't really see what I'm doing.
Yeah, you're very close right now. You're going to want to go back.
This one?
Nope, that's
sorry.
not Kiki there. So you're going to want to go back.
This one?
No, your other back.
This one, got it.
That's Gunther. Put Gunther down.
Oh, sorry,
and then
Gunther.
go forward from there.
Got
That's Kiki.
it.
You've got her.
Okay, got it. All right. Well, hi there, Kiki. It seems like you don't really like tests too much, do ya? No, that's okay. We've got some friends of mine who have created a breathing exercise that they want to show you. Do you want to take a look? Okay, great. Well, you wait there, and I'm going to come up here, and it looks like we have a code downloaded onto a microbit, Matt. Who's this code from?
This code is from Lily.
All right, Lily, we've got your code downloaded onto a microbit here. Can you type in the chat for us and tell us how to breathe with your code? When do we breathe in or hold our breath or breathe out? And I'm going to go show this to Kiki to see if this helps. All right, so Lily, here's your breathing technique. And tell us, when should we breathe with your LEDs?
And Lily is saying to hold when it stops. Hold
Okay.
when it stops.
All right, so it's kind of moving around in a circle here, which is nice. But maybe we hold our breath when it stops, like that straight line. So, okay, there we go. We can hold it and breathe in. Hold, breathe out. Hold, breathe in. And hold and breathe out. That's pretty nice. Oh, Lily, look. Oh my gosh. I think your breathing technique helped Kiki stop shaking. That is awesome, Lily. Nice job. What do you guys think of Lily's code? Let's take a little closer look at it here. What do you guys think of Lily's LED display that she has generated here with this spinning line? What do you guys think?
Eamon says very relaxing. Katya says soothing with 4 O's.
Very.
and Audrey says, I like it.
Oh, I like it too, Audrey. That's great. Well, if we take a look inside and we see how Lily made this awesome spinning line here, let's take a look at Lily's code. Here we go. So we saw what it did with those LEDs, but how did Lily do it? Oh, look at here. If we zoom in a little bit, you can see she started with this straight line, and then we got a wiggly line here. And as we scroll down, you can see that she just built it frame by frame. And it might be kind of difficult to see it spinning, you know, as you just look block by block, but that's what this simulator is so good for here. Nice job, Lily. I really like that code. Okay, so Kiki, are you ready to head back to class? Yes? Great. Okay, so let's go ahead and put you back in class. And there we go.
Oh,
How does she look, Matt?
Look at her. Very calm, very relaxed, ready to learn. And oh, I guess not everyone's calm, relaxed, and ready to learn, are they?
Oh my goodness. Elby, who is this student who's standing on their desk looking very agitated? Oh, okay. Elby says this student's name is Robin, and every time this student is asked to do a test or a speech or a presentation or anything, they get really agitated. They jump on the desk and they make a huge scene. I wonder what's going on inside their head. Matt, can you take us into Robin's microcontroller so we can see what's going on?
Sure thing. Entering Robin's microcontroller right now.
Oh my goodness, poor Robin. Looks like they are, whenever anything happens, they get really agitated and they're scared of people laughing at them. Elby, can you hold off on that test for just a little? Great. So let's take this opportunity to learn another breathing technique that could maybe help Robin out. This one is called the pretzel. So this one works best, again, if you scooch away from your desk a little bit and you're going to reach your hands out in front of you. Turn your hands upside down so your thumbs are pointing downwards, and then clasp your hands together like this. And then you bring them in like that. And that's what you do, taking your breath in. And when you hold your breath, you squeeze your muscles, especially your shoulders. Squeeze those shoulders together for a count of 3, and then you let it all go for a count of 3. So let's try that together. Ready? Breathe in. Hold and squeeze. And let it go. Now that one is a great way to let go of some physical tension. And again, that works great if you are a human, but Robin is a robot. So we need to translate that into some LEDs and some code so that they can participate too. So go ahead and make another breathing activity with that same code that we sent before. Go ahead and try to make a different breathing activity. And this one's for Robin. Remember, they're scared of people laughing at them. So what would you do to help calm Robin down in that situation? I want to point out, and you can start working whenever you've got a great idea, but I want to point out another feature of the code that might be helpful while you are building your activity. So if I zoom back in on it, we talked about the LED blocks and how to turn on and off LEDs with that. But there's also this other block in there, this pause block. Now, a pause block tells the robot how long to do something for, and it's measured in milliseconds. Now, there are 1,000 milliseconds in every 1 second. So right now, each stage of this breathing activity that I created lasts for a second, which means that this lasts for a second, this lasts for a second, so does this one. However, the square for when to hold your breath, that one lasts for 3,000 milliseconds because I wanted you to hold your breath for 3 seconds. But you can go in and change that in your code. So you could make each of these last for half a second or more or less time? How long do you want each of these steps to take? You get to determine that with the pause blocks. So make sure you mess with that in your code as well. And when you're ready, when you have an activity that you'd like to show to Robin to help them calm down, here's how to share your code. Go up to the top, click that share button, give it a name, and make sure you put your name in there so we know who it's from. Click publish, copy that link, and then paste it back in the chat, and then we'll be able to see it and show it to Robin. So I'll come down to you, Matt. Are people sending in some codes?
Those codes are slowly coming in, yes. So I'm going to go ahead and keep monitoring that chat. Please send those codes in through the chat whenever you are ready.
Fantastic. And we're going to pick one to download onto our microbit here so that we can show it to Robin. And let's go ahead and maybe, since we know Robin is really agitated, maybe we should just go ahead and take them out of class. So let me go ahead and reach in there. And Matt, can you help me find Robin?
Yeah, you bet. Oh, you're very close right now. That's Robin right
Okay,
there.
got it.
Yeah, grab Gunther.
Oops.
Put
sorry,
Gunther down and then go to your left, I guess would be.
Yeah.
You got Robin.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Here we go. All right. Hey there, Robin. Hi. It's good to have you with us here. There you go. So I hear you don't like tests and presentations so much, do you? No. Get a little bit nervous. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, we've got some friends who have created some breathing techniques. Do you want to give one a try? Yes. Great. Okay, stay there. And I think we've got one downloaded on a microbit here. Who's this one from, Matt?
This code is from Farhad.
All right, Farhad, will you tell us in the chat, when should we breathe and do different, when should we breathe in, breathe out, hold our breath with your code? We'll set the mood here and then let's show this to Robin. So go ahead and tell us, when do we breathe with your code, Farhad?
And Farhad is saying to hold when it says shh.
Ah, good thinking, good thinking. Okay, so there's these musical notes and then it says shh. Okay, so that's when we hold. So this is when we'd be breathing out. We'll wait for it to reset and we'll breathe in. Ready? Breathe in. And hold while it says shh. And then we'll breathe out. That is pretty nice. What do you think, Robin? Is that helping you? Yes? Okay, that's great. That's great. Well, let's take a closer look at what Farhad created here. And I want to know, what do you guys think of Farhad's animation that they made here? We've got some musical notes. We've got this shh scrolling across. What do you guys think?
Iman says, very nice. Edmund says, good. And AJ says, I think it's great.
I'm with you. I like that good spelled with a U. That was great. Yes, I also think that this is great. I really like it too. I'm really interested in that shh part. How did Farhad scroll those letters across? I'm curious. I want to take a look at this code. So, okay, here is Farhad's code. I like these little musical notes. I also really like music. It's a great way to calm down. But if we zoom in, there were the musical notes, and then, oh, look at that. There's this block in here that says show string, which is a block we didn't talk about, but it can be really useful for communicating because you can type letters in there and you know where to find it because it's blue. So you go into the blue basic blocks, and then there's this show string. And so what that does is it scrolls letters across. So you can see the musical notes kind of moving back and forth there. But then SHHH went right in the code there. And we didn't actually even need a pause block after it because strings take a little bit of time to scroll past. That was great, Farhad. I liked that. Nice job. So let me check in with Robin. Robin, are you ready to head back to class? Yes. Okay. All right, Robin. Let me go ahead and put you back in there. You can take that test. You're going to do great. All right, Matt, how do they look?
Robin looks calm and relaxed and ready to learn.
Looking great, Robin. All right, LB, you can go ahead and give them that test. They are all ready. Sorry. I think we took too long with our breathing exercises. But you know what, Elby? It's okay. Why don't you just take a deep breath and you can give him that test tomorrow. Okay, good luck. Bye. Oops. But hey, I think it's a great thing that these students are now calm and focused and ready to go. I think they're going to do great on this test. And that's all thanks to the code and the animations that you guys created today. Nice job, everybody. That was really, really fantastic. Nice work. And that actually brings me to my favorite part of all of our sessions, which is when I get to say to all of you who joined us today, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I had a blast taking a look at you guys' codes, reading your chats, getting to know you guys a little bit before and then hopefully after the session. This was really fun, you guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Matt, what were some of your favorite parts of today's session?
Well, as you know, I spend my days reading chats. And so when I see such positive chats coming in, man, that just makes me feel so wonderful. You guys are so supportive to one another. I know we weren't able to get everybody's code onto the microbits today, but hopefully you can come back for a future session and we'll get to see your code then.
Absolutely. Thank you to our featured coders, Lily and Farhad today, but thanks to everybody who sent in code. This was great. And those positive chats, very nice. If you want to learn more about what we do, you can be sure to visit our website, codejoyeducation.com, and check out some more of our upcoming sessions that we have coming up. We always have a few free sessions each month, and we'd love to see you join us at our next one. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter. We're pretty active on Twitter, and you can also follow the Microbit Foundation as well. And if you are a teacher, you can be sure to open up this bit.ly link, which will take you to a Google Doc with tons of great resources. All right, thank you so much. Bye.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks for watching. Now, let's
Thank you. We have one additional bonus segment for those that still want to stay on.
Hello, and welcome to Student Maker Day. Yay! I am so excited to be a part of this and to meet some new friends kind of virtually. My name is Sandy Roberts, and I am a STEM educator, particularly science and math. Those were always my favorites. But I've also taught engineering and lots of makerspace programs. My business is called Kaleidoscope Enrichment, and basically I bring programs all over the place to museums and schools and pretty much anywhere that wants to do some fun with STEM and making. I am also very proud to say that I am the 2021 Maker Camp Coordinator for Make Magazine and Make Community. So I am hoping that we'll be spending a summer together making lots of cool, innovative things. And if you want even more ideas, the Big Book of Maker Camp Projects. I am an author. That is my book. It's got over 100 projects. You can probably find it at your local library, and I encourage you to do that. All right, great. That's the introductions. Now we know each other. What are we actually going to make today? Well, I have one of my favorite little projects actually from the book, and this is kind of a hacked version of an origami circuit. So origami, you've probably heard of. That is the technique where you fold paper to make all kinds of different shapes and models. But I like to add a little bit of pizzazz to them by adding lights and motors and things like that. So I thought since it's summertime, the perfect origami circuit for today would be my little firefly. This is my little firefly. He's got googly eyes. Can you see him? Googly eyes. And what's really fun about him is that you can see he's got a little bulb there, an LED on the back. When you close him up, and you can't see it too well on my camera, but you'll be able to see when we look closer, his little tail lights up just like a firefly does. So this is my simplest of my origami circuits, and I thought it'd be a really fun place to start today. So this is what we're going to be making. We are going to need a couple of items. Okay, so we need some supplies to make our fun little firefly friend. We are going to do kind of a hacked project today. You can use things like copper tape and LEDs and batteries that you buy online or that you get in kits, but I want to show you a way to make this project with things you can get at the dollar store, or they might even have sitting around the house already. So what do we need? Well, first and foremost, we need one of these little electric tea lights, okay, that turn on. They have like a little switch. we're going to hack this for a battery and for an LED. The LED, okay, is this little part that lights up. Light emitting diode. That's what that means. And basically, when you run electricity through this, it resists the flow of electricity and causes the thing to light up. Now, LEDs, when you buy them, kind of look like this. They have a long leg and a short leg. The long leg is positive and the short leg is negative. This is important because when we run electricity through our circuit, it has to go in the right direction. So we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But if you have these kinds of LEDs around and you want to use them and you have copper tape or maker tape, you can use that too. I just want to give you a version that you could do with dollar store supplies. Speaking of, to conduct electricity, we're just going to use some aluminum foil like you might have in the kitchen. And you're going to need a pair of scissors because you're going to cut that aluminum foil, I have some prepared already, into little strips that are about 1/4 inch wide. Okay, so that just takes a moment to do. If you have a rotary cutter, you can do it that way, or even on a paper cutter, you know, the slicey kind. So there you go. You're just going to need some strips of aluminum foil. You're definitely going to want some fun, colorful paper. Now, this is 6x6 origami paper. It's nice and thin. You can use smaller. You can use bigger. I wouldn't go too much smaller or bigger. You can also cut up regular old colored paper or copy paper. You could cut up old newspaper, or I sometimes like to use wrapping paper that's left over. So there are a lot of different things. The important thing is it needs to be a nice, even square. Okay, so I'm using 6x6 origami paper. Technically, fireflies are black, but it's your firefly. Make it whatever color you want. Okay, we are going to need a small screwdriver to open up our tea light. You can find these in the dollar store as well. They sell them in like packs. I like to keep a magic marker around, a permanent marker, because that will help me identify my positive and negative leads a little bit later, and I'll show you how to use that. You're going to need a glue stick, or you could use double-sided tape for this project. Glue stick's easy by me, but we have to have a way to get our aluminum foil to stick to our firefly. I have a couple Google Eyes because Google Eyes make everything better. And, oh, almost forgot, invisible tape, okay? A little bit of invisible tape to hold things together. So we're going to need that. Okay, let's get started by folding our firefly. Now, we're making fireflies, but if you have things like butterflies you know how to fold, or frogs, or swans, whatever you want, you can add a light to that too. But I'm going to show you how to make a firefly today. So we're going to start by taking our paper with the wrong side up, okay, the white side up, and we're going to place it on our table in front of us. We're going to take the top point, we're going to fold it down to the bottom point, okay, and we're just going to give that a good crease. Make sure that that's folded nicely, okay, just like that. Excellent. Now we are going to take one of the side points. I'm starting with the right, and I'm going to fold it so that it comes to the center, but not quite exactly center. I'm actually going to just offset it a little bit, okay? Leave it a little away from that point, and I'm just going to fold it all the way up. This is creating our body, our wings. Crease that well. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and I want to kind of get it very, very similar if I can. Some days I'm better at this than other days, but you'll see in a moment, it's very forgiving. You're not going to see this. So there we go. We're going to give that a good crease. Okay, pretty simple. Now we're going to flip the whole thing over, flip our model over, and we're going to measure about 1 inch. So this is 1 inch. You can also measure from the knuckle to the end of your thumb. That's about 1 inch. We are going to fold the top point back about 1 inch, like that, crease it really well, and then fold it about 3/4 of the way back up. You want to make sure you have enough space to add your Google Eyes, so you can kind of take a look, because this is going to form the head. All right, so that's nicely creased. Now we're going to form his little legs. They aren't going to look like legs, but they're kind of like feet. So we're going to take one side again, and we're going to fold it. We want to make sure that we're catching some of that head, okay? And you can make your firefly as narrow or as, roly-poly as you like. It's your firefly. So you can see I just folded that, and I'm going to try and make sure that I do about the same on the other side. Again, trying to make it symmetrical because most insects are. Okay, there we go. Give that a really good crease. Now, if you find that it's hard for you to crease using your fingers, that's another good reason to keep your marker around. You can get in there and make sure everything's creased really well, folded nicely. Now I'm going to fold these back a little bit. Basically, I want him to be able to kind of sit up nicely. And I find that folding back to make a little tab helps with this. Now, like I said, if you're missing any of this, you can watch it again, or the instructions are all in my book, and you can get that from your local library. Okay, so now we have our head, we have our little feet. We're going to be putting all of our circuit in here, but we want to flip back over here and look. Now, last thing to do, just a simple fold right on down the middle. Again, try and make sure that we get it nice and even, because we want to give him a little bit of shape. So there we go. He should be able to stand up just like that. Ta-da! We've got our firefly folded, and he looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put my Google Eyes on now, because that way they'll have a little time to dry before I add my circuit. You can use regular liquid glue. Oh, my Google Eyes are everywhere. Come on, Googles. I'm just going to use the stick glue that I'm using for my circuit. So a little bit of glue, press that on there well. There we go. And I admit I'm a big lover of Googles. I really like googly eyes. But you can get out the markers, you can get out some stickers, get out some glitter. Your camp counselors and teachers and parents may not be as fond of glitter as I am, but there we go. Just sticking my eyes on there. Gonna set him aside now, let him kind of dry and do his thing while we hack our tea light. So here's my tea light. Cap my glue. I've got my screwdriver and I've got my marker. Hacking a tea light's very easy. I am gonna, however, put on my glasses so I can see better. Okay, so you can see that we've got a little screw. Most of them have a screw. It's very easy to undo. Sometimes, I say that sometimes, and then they're like stripped or they're hard to get out, but usually they're very easy. And you can see that screw is coming right out for me. Okay, there we go. We're gonna pop that out, take off the little lid, and there's our battery. This is a CR2032. It's 3 volts. You always want to make sure that you match your battery to the power needs of whatever you're trying to, well, use. In this case, an LED uses between 2.1 and like 2.8, sometimes up to 3 volts. So a 3-volt battery is perfect. We're just going to go ahead and pop that out, save that. Now you'll notice, let's see if I can zoom in for you a little bit here. Okay. See, it has a plus on it. That's the positive side of the battery. The other side is just rough, has nothing on it. That's the negative side of the battery. This is important because your LED and your battery both have directionality. Okay, so the positive lead of your LED is usually your long, and the negative is usually your short. So if you line them up and put positive to positive and negative to negative, it's going to light up and power your LED. Yay! Let's harvest the LED from inside this. This is the fun part. Most people love this part. We are actually going to just take our little screwdriver and kind of pry this open. Boom. Now you can save this. You can look up Scrappy Circuits online. An educator put together a whole guide to using these sorts of items to make all kinds of different switches and things. So put those tea lights to good use. I'm just going to take this apart though, because I don't need any of these other items right now. I am just after this LED. And depending on your particular tea light, it might be a little different on the inside, but you're just going to gently, gently, gently take that LED out. Okay. Oops. Okay, let's make this bigger. Okay, so I now have my LED out. Now remember how I said that the long leg is usually your positive and the short leg is usually your negative. So let's try it. This happens sometimes. Sometimes they have to cut the LED legs or leads to make it fit inside the tea light. So you kind of have to play with it and make sure that you know which way it works. So in this case, it looks like this is my positive lead, and that's where this marker comes in. I'm going to go ahead and mark my positive so I don't forget when I go and put together my circuit, because it won't work if I do it backwards. You have to make sure that you have positive to positive and negative to negative. So I'm just going to go ahead, give that a little bit of marker. There we go. And I'm going to set that aside. Okay, now it's time to go ahead and add our light to our origami. So this is very easy to do. We are just going to put 2 strips of our aluminum foil. We want it to run, about an inch inside under the wing, and it's going to fold around and come, kind of all the way up to the middle. So just kind of eyeball it, and it tears really easily, like that. I'm going to get my glue stick and just apply the glue to my foil. Now this is where some of you that maybe have nice long fingernails have an advantage over me. But I'm just going to glue my foil. And again, I want it to come kind of all, to the middle, so I have lots of space to get a good circuit. And I'm just going to kind of come up over here, and there we go. Okay. So I've done that on one side. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Just going to kind of, again, just informally measure, get a sense of about how much I'm going to need. And there we go. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply it again. Now you don't want to apply it right against the fold because you do want to give your battery a little space, and we'll see that in a moment. These on the back, you want to be a little closer together because that's where your LED is going to go. Now you don't want to tear or break that foil as you're working, because if it tears, it's not going to have a complete circuit. Your circuit must be closed like a switch so that the electricity can flow. It can't jump over a ripped piece of your foil. So there we go. I'm just adding a little extra glue there. All right, so you want to make sure that it's all one piece, okay, and it wraps around just like that, okay? Now we're going to get that LED. Where is our LED? We've got our LED, and I've got my tape, and we're just going to kind of pull back our little wings and figure out where we want to add our LED. We are going to need to open up, these leads a little bit. So you're just very gently going to use your fingers. If you yank on them too much, it's very easy to break these right off your LED, and you don't want to do that. So, and again, I know which one is my positive, right? Because I've marked it. So I know that the one with the black is my positive. And I'm just going to kind of lay that on there, see if I like its position, if I like how it's set. That looks good to me. And I'm just going to get a little bit of invisible tape. And I'm going to just go ahead and tape the LED on. Now make sure that the lead is touching the foil. It needs to touch the foil to get good connection. And you really want to kind of get your fingers in there, press down on that really, really well so that it doesn't wiggle off like mine did earlier. I guess I didn't do a good enough job really pressing that on. Okay, I'm just going to repeat on the other side. Make sure that, again, it's attached really well. Here we go. Getting that on there really well. Very good. And just fold it over. It's not going to be a problem. Just fold it over so it's out of the way. You can cut it. You can trim it away too if you want. But again, you just want to make sure that these are pressed in there really well so they make good contact with the foil. Okay, you can even put a little extra foil over it if you want, but I like the stickiness of the tape. Okay, so that's all we need to do on the back. And then you can, if you want to, you can just give that a fold so that it sits just right. On the inside, we have to add our battery. Now, remember how we figured out that this one's black, so this is positive, so this side is positive. And you might even want to go ahead and mark that on the inside so you remember which is which. So this is my positive and this is my negative. And that means that the positive side of the battery has to stick there and the negative side is going to come over and touch. Now we're going to test that, make sure, oh, yep, look at that, lights right up. Good, we did it right. You want to check that before you start taping everything down. So once you've got that, the trick here is making sure that both sides are going to touch, but when we use our tape, we don't want to cover the whole battery, because if we cover the whole battery, the foil isn't going to be able to touch the battery. Okay, and we'll essentially insulate against foil. We don't want that. So you just want to use a little bit of tape just to hold it in place. If you have, you could also probably use a little bit of glue, but again, you want to make sure that the metal is touching metal. Okay, that's really important. So if all goes well, I should be able to just close that, and there we go. There's our little light up firefly. Now, if you want him to stay on, you can use a little bit of tape just to tape him closed, okay? Or a little binder clip or paper clip will keep him closed too. So that is your super fun little light up firefly. So that's it. Super easy, a little bit of fun origami, a little bit of fun circuits, and you can light up your own bugs of any kind. So I've done these with spiders. I've done all kinds of different insects. I've done butterflies. You can go crazy. Find your own origami models and add a little bit of light to them. The other thing you can do is hack a toothbrush. And you can see this one. I added the little motor from a toothbrush, and you can make a little vibrobot. If you want to learn more about these types of projects, I do have them on Make Projects. They're free, and you can check them out and create your own origami circuits. And I would love to see what you do. So be sure to share that. You can always share it with me. You can send me an email, or just go on out there and put #MakerCamp. I will definitely see it. All right. Thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to get to be a part of this. I hope that you have a fun day of learning ahead. And hopefully we'll all be able to be in person again, maybe next year. So signing off, my name is Sandy Roberts. I'm the author of the Big Book of Maker Camp Projects. I am the Maker Camp coordinator for the year, and my business is Kaleidoscope Enrichment. And I hope that we get to meet again sometime soon. Take care.
Thank you again for all our incredible makers and for the students there. Thank you for joining us for our first ever Student Maker Day. It is a wrap now on our sessions. Please be sure to follow our links and follow us on social media for any of the updated videos or to see videos and recap. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you again for joining us. Teachers, please be sure to send us emails and share with us and tag us on your creations. And have a wonderful day. Take care.